Chapter 605. But no matter how shocking the title was, the content was more or less the same. Tang Jie Fund, an international financial group from the United States, officially invested in the famous domestic internet celebrity Superman. The initial investment was $20 million, or about 130 million renminbi. The Qingguang Company was established to develop various business and commercialize around Superman. Qingguang held 50% of the shares in the Qingguang Company, and the Tang Jie Fund held 50% of the shares. This terrifying amount of investment completely changed the upper limit of internet celebrity financing and the three views of the internet celebrity economy. This would definitely become a national breaking news. The mysterious but powerful Tang Jie Fund would definitely become a synonym for the rich idiots of the new generation. In fact, even Qingguang was at a loss. Before the solo competition, Qingguang had no idea how he could make a living as an internet celebrity. He could earn some Weibo traffic and donations. Then he could start a live stream or accept some advertisements. Over the course of a month, he could easily earn 1 million yen to 2 million yen, and he could be considered as a member of the upper class. Indeed, the world's first solo throne challenge had opened a new world for him. It made him realize that money could be earned this way. But this could be done even without other people's investment. Qingguang expressed that he did not intend to share a portion of the money with others, especially with a financial group that was tied together for political reasons. Then, other than the solo competition, what other methods could he use to earn money? Using his fame to open a restaurant? Save it. How many celebrities actually made money from their F&B business? Xinhe Zhuang or Shang Shangqian were the minority. Most of the restaurants opened by celebrities occupied prime locations and were gathering dust. Or a fashion brand. However, Qingguang swiftly rejected this thought. Celebrities that could establish a fashion brand had to be well suited to the fashion industry. With his down-to-earth character, he wouldn't want to act like a bourgeoisie, so he might as well sell farming tools instead of a fashion brand. After thinking about it, he finally came to a conclusion. There was only one feasible and stable way to cash in his internet celebrity economy. Open an online store to sell meat muffins. Okay, that was too stupid. The god of racing and knife, the soon-to-be rising best actor, was selling meat muffins. If word got out, it would be too embarrassing. He shook his head and decided not to think about these useless things. Anyway, other people were throwing money at him. If he could make a profit, of course everyone would be happy. It didn't matter if he lost money. He clenched his fists silently and thanked the Tang Jie Foundation in his heart for giving him such a huge gift without saying a word. The boss of this financial group must be an honest boy. Of course, Qingguang knew that this Qingguang Company was just a cover. Its essence was a different name, a different style of Guangdong General Administration. It didn't matter if Qingguang Agency made money or not. It didn't even matter if it could survive for a year or two. The most important thing was that during this period of time that the elders needed, Qingguang had to jump around outside loud enough to leave a good impression on those inner force users that they had all forgotten about their past unhappiness. In the future, he would become an internet celebrity and earn money, and they would continue to hide in the ground and be the local tyrants. The logic was that simple. He just didn't know who this rich and capricious Tang Jie Foundation was. Why would they give him $20 million for free? Did they have too much money to burn? In the end, he continued flipping through the document. When he saw the introduction of Tang Jie Foundation, he burst out laughing. The chairman and biggest shareholder's name was an old acquaintance. It was Tang Ying's genius younger brother, Tang Xiaokai. Okay, this young man wasn't stupid. He was smart. No wonder. No matter how talented a person was, there was a limit. This young man was doing well in foreign investments at such a young age. He actually got involved in such a high-end matter. As expected, this meant that the so-called Tang Jie Foundation had the shadow of the Chinese higher-ups behind it from the beginning. In a sense, his $20 million of financing, which was almost like giving away for free, was very meaningful. Qingguang silently tightened his pockets. This was called someone sending him a pillow when he wanted to sleep. Just as he was feeling distressed that he had spent too much on speculation, someone sent him money. This old man doesn't know much about business, but it's written in black and white on this top-secret file that my mission during this period of time is to do my best to produce, and to strive to produce all this money. I must also make a name for myself and make a name for myself. Thinking of what Jin Shirui had whispered to him previously, Qingguang came to a tacit understanding with the old men in Yanjing. Fine, you want me to create more trouble and distract some people's attention. In that case, I'll respectfully accept. Tremble the whole world. I'll let you see what it means by there's no such thing as the most prodigal, only more prodigal. I can't take it anymore. I'm losing control of my power. I can't control my prodigal soul anymore. The scary prodigal soul is about to devour my rationality. Why does it feel so good when I think about spending other people's money? Burn. My prodigal soul. Why are you smiling so wretchedly? Xen Qin, who had been paying attention to him, felt a chill from the bottom of her heart when she saw his expression. Qin Guang touched his face. Am I? Look at my righteous eyes. Are you intimidated by my righteousness? Little Xen Qin, listen carefully. The burden on our shoulders is very heavy. We must successfully complete the task given by the leaders and return the great Wuxia to its former glory. Screw you. Remember, the people from Tangjie Foundation don't know that Qingguang Brokerage is essentially our Guangdong General Office. Don't let the cat out of the bag when we meet up tomorrow. Qin Guang nodded. Nonsense. Do I need you to tell me that? Am I the director or are you the director? You don't have any self-awareness as a deputy director at all. Director, do you need a Lolita massage? Xan Qin squeezed her fingers. Her joints crackled. With bone strength, she could make her fingers as loud as thunder. Qin Guang rejected her righteously. Comrade, the revolution has not succeeded yet. We still need to work hard. Now is not the time to enjoy the sugar-coated bullets of capitalism like a Lolita massage. Pfft. Xan Qin returned to the room next door. Qin Guang rushed to lock the door. Ever since the Lolita rubbed his back yesterday, she had become irritable. Strange. Menopause at such a young age? He didn't know that Xan Qin was heartbroken. She had sacrificed so much, but she didn't even get a peek at the slightest bit of Danqing volume. She watched as Qin Guang turned the medicine into a watery soup on the spot without getting anything out of it. On the other side, the financial genius of a generation who had dominated the domestic and foreign investment market for many years, stirred up a storm. He once fought with the Soros Fund for 300 rounds and still managed to keep his underwear. He deserved the title of genius. He was known as Wall Street's little white dragon, but now he was scolding someone on the phone. Xiaokai, what are you thinking about? I know you are doing well now, but do you have to invest so much money in Qingguang because of me? Tang Ying stood in the garden of the provincial hospital. She didn't have the amiable Dr. Xiao Tang in the eyes of the patients. Instead, she was like a crazy tigress. Just listen to me. It's really not like that. Tang Xiaokai was almost like a Spartan. What have I done to deserve this? It's already distressing enough that I inexplicably informed those old men in Yanjing to let me pour out $20 million of cash flow into the water. But it wasn't over. When the news from Wall Street got out, somehow my sister got the news. After I dealt with those old men, I still have to scold my sister. What are you explaining? I don't need you to explain anything. I don't need you to meddle in the matters between me and Qingguang. Your sister has been holding it in with great difficulty. Forget it, I don't want to talk to you about this. You are too extravagant. Qingguang is an internet celebrity now and has quite a reputation. But the internet celebrity economy is a bubble. It will burst if you poke it with a needle. Isn't this money? Tang Ying was indeed very angry. There was a time when she couldn't deny that her relationship with Qingguang had become a little strange. Especially after they went to the movies together, she felt that this kid was so considerate. She didn't even resist helping him with that thing. She would even think of those things from time to time and secretly blush, but she couldn't feel any disgust in her heart. But later, because of Wu Tong, she and Qingguang didn't see each other much. It seemed that the awkwardness and ambiguity in the past could be forgotten. Maybe they could slowly return to a normal friendship. Although she had interrogated him under Wu Tong's name when the news about him and Jin Shirue broke out, Tang Ying couldn't deny the joy in her heart when she heard his firm answer. But time was the strongest detergent in the world. Could wash away too many things. She almost thought that she was about to succeed, but Tang Xiaokai made such a thing. Of course she was angry. Sister, I can't explain it to you. Anyway, don't worry about it. Just pretend that you don't know anything. How can I pretend that I don't know? It's $20 million. Just wait and see. I have to call Dad and see if he won't beat you up. It's useless even if you call Dad. He knows about it too. What? Dad knows? Tang Ying was shocked. How could you tell him about it? Hey, that's not right. I didn't tell him. He told me. Forget it, I really can't tell you. I'm very confused about it, but it involves some secrets, especially scary secrets. It really has nothing to do with you. It's just a coincidence. Sister, think about it. I'm a smart businessman. I'll get it back even if I have to. How could I throw away $20 million just to make you happy? Who's happy? Who are you talking about? I'm not happy at all. I'm super unhappy. You're all bullying me. Chapter 606. Tang Ying hung up the phone. She recalled Wu Tong's call 2 days ago. At that time Wu Tong told her, "Lady Ying, your sister Tong won't be able to return to Wujing anytime soon. Help me keep a close eye on Qin Guang. Don't let those strange little vixens wander around him. He's rich and famous now. You know he can't resist them. You have to help me keep an eye on him. My good sister, can you please help me with this?" Tang Ying was afraid that she would steal what she was guarding, so she refused to help. But in the end she couldn't persuade Wu Tong. Wu Tong didn't want her to have too much contact with Qin Guang either. She only asked her to meet Qin Guang from time to time and have a meal with him. Even if they couldn't have a meal together, they could chat on WeChat. Tang Ying nodded. In fact, Wu Tong was worried about Qin Guang's situation. But she was in a special situation now and couldn't contact Qin Guang too much. So she wanted to take a detour and keep track of Qin Guang's movements through Tang Ying. But she didn't want Tang Ying to get involved too much. So she asked Tang Ying if she was willing to send a WeChat message to ask about Qin Guang. On the other side, Tang Xiaokai held his phone anxiously and didn't know what to say. It seemed that his sister was mad. Alas, forget it. I'll explain it to her slowly after this mess is over. Not long after, he received another call from Tang Ying. You've invested $20 million. Did you send a vice president over to help you? No, I don't think it's necessary. Tang Xiaokai said honestly. Actually, he wanted to send someone, but his father hinted that he shouldn't think about making money from this business. He also didn't want someone to represent him to keep an eye on Qin Guang. He just wanted Qin Guang to focus on building the company. As long as he didn't run out of money in a month or two, it would be a success. Screw you. You're all crazy. No. Even if I want to pull Qin Guang along for your sister's sake, I can't just watch you guys mess around like this. It's fine if you don't want to send a vice president, I'll go. Tang Ying thought about it and finally said so. You're going? Don't. What? You have a problem with that? Or are you saying that I, Tang Ying, Tang Xiaokai's sister, don't have the right to represent you? Don't forget that I also have a share in Tang Jie's fund. As a shareholder of the Tang Jie Foundation, I have the right to pay attention to the fund's investment. Why don't I call a shareholders meeting now and let the other shareholders vote for me to be the investor representative? Tang Xiaokai opened her mouth wide and couldn't say a word for a long time. She could only say in a muffled voice, then, "All right, I only have one thing to say. Don't worry about how Qin Guang spends his money. Shut up. The rest is my problem." Tang Ying hung up the phone with a bang. She rolled up her sleeves in high spirits. She didn't care anymore. It was $20 million. She really didn't know what her father and brother were thinking. Since the money was already thrown out, she had to do something. Tang Ying can't just watch you guys mess around. The sky was just beginning to brighten, and Qin Guang purposely woke up early. Considering that he was going to be promoted from a monk to a real CEO, Chen and boss Guang, he decided to take good care of himself. At the very least, he had to get a beautiful hairstyle. Then he stood silently in front of the mirror for 30 seconds. It only took him 1 second to tidy up his new hairstyle. He took a handkerchief and gently wiped his bald head, revealing his shiny, fashionable bald head. Done. When are you going to change this car logo back? Xan Qin had already complained about Qin Guang's car logo more than once. What do you know? This is called fashion. Fashion my ass. I'm so uncomfortable. Young lady, your outlook on life is a little off. You need teacher Qin to teach you a lesson. A person's nobility and luxury don't come from their appearance. Look at my car logo. Although it's a Passat, we all know that it's a Phaeton. That's why we look ordinary on the outside but are noble on the inside. This is especially important. Teacher Qin, do you want to take a picture of me? Xan Qin asked. Young lady, don't you learn martial arts? Why are you so knowledgeable? Recently, my master has asked me to learn more about current affairs and to be more wary of you. Anyway, I'm already stuck at the peak of bone force, so there's no point in training hard. If I want to reach skin force, I need more luck. I might as well spend more time on these things. Who knows, maybe understanding the world will give me a sudden epiphany. Both you and your master are knowledgeable. There's a place for you in the new era. Qin Guang turned his face away and thought to himself, what the hell is this Qinjue sect? I might as well call it Qinjue Old Drivers Driving School. On the way, Xan Qin contacted the people from the Tang Jie Foundation. They acted quickly and actually rented a conference room at the famous Kaibing Grand Hotel in the city. The press conference was set for 10 a.m. Forget about what the newly established Qingguang company was going to do. They had to hold the press conference first and make their name known. Qin Guang, who was driving, pricked up his ears to eavesdrop on the voice of the person related to the Tang Jie Foundation who was talking to Xan. His heart was itching. The other party seemed to be a female comrade with a beautiful voice. With the old man's years of experience, he could tell that the other party was definitely a beauty. Tang Xiaokai was indeed one of them. He knew the old man's preferences too well. How could I accept this? I'm using your money, and you're sending a beauty to contact me. This young man is a lay phone. All right. Xan, what's the name of the person we're meeting with at the Tang Jie Foundation? Qin Guang decided to find out first. If he confirmed that the other party was a beauty, he had to be polite. Tang Ying. Damn it. Qin Guang almost crashed his head into a telephone pole. It wasn't that he didn't want to see Tang Ying. His relationship with Tang Ying wasn't just an ordinary one, so it was impossible for him to have any opinions about Tang Ying. However, this Qingguang company was just a cover for the Guangdong headquarters, and he didn't want Tang Ying to get involved. What was Tang Xiaokai doing? What's wrong with you? Xan asked when she saw that his expression wasn't right. Qingguang shook his head. Nothing. Forget it. With Tang Xiaokai's status, he and his Tang Jie Foundation were only responsible for taking the money. They weren't qualified to know the secrets of inner force martial artists. Moreover, this was one of the secret plans of those old men in Beijing, so it was even more impossible for him to know the inside story. Speaking of which, could it be that Tang Ying thought that Tang Xiaokai was taking out the money to sponsor her, an internet celebrity for her sake, so she took the initiative to get involved? The more he thought about it, the more likely it seemed. When the two of them arrived at the Kaibin Hotel, there were already a lot of reporters surrounding the hotel lobby and parking lot. Although the internet celebrity all-rounder wasn't considered a big star, considering his identity as Jin Shiyue's boyfriend and the fact that he had the highest amount of funding in the history of internet celebrities, as well as the fact that he had just completed a phenomenal competition yesterday, it wasn't strange for news about him to attract so many media outlets overnight. Qin Guang was recognized as soon as he got out of the car. At this moment, a large group of people raised their weapons and surrounded Qin Guang and Xan, who got out of the car, tightly encircled Qin Guang and Xan. Mr. Qin, I heard that the Tang Jie Foundation deliberately offered a sky-high price in order to get the opportunity to work with you. How do you plan to use the $20 million? Mr. Qin, the concept of being an internet celebrity in our country has been around for almost a decade. However, you've only been famous for less than 3 months, and you've already become the publicly acknowledged #1 internet celebrity in China. What do you think of this? I heard that you and Jin Shiyue only meet each other once in a while. Will your relationship be affected if you spend more time apart than together? A while ago, the famous actor Li Longwei publicly expressed his love for Jin Shiyue on Weibo. What do you think of this? Do you have anything to say? This morning, the famous entertainment reporter Zhuo Wei, the founder of 8 Weekly, said on his Weibo that there's something fishy about the cooperation between the Tang Jie Foundation and you. May I know who the fishy person is? Why does he have it? Mr. Qin, your Dota Throne Challenge has achieved unprecedented success. I'm also a veteran Dota player and your diehard fan. May I know what your next business plan will be? As far as I know, you're not only good at games, your racing skills are second to none in the world. You've even won the World Darts Championship with undisputed results. May I know when you're planning to participate in the WRC World Rally Championship? Currently, there hasn't been a Chinese person who has achieved a dominant victory in the WRC. We really hope to see your exciting performance in the WRC. Mr. Qin, the famous director Mr. Deng Xiaojiang, will be holding a signing ceremony for his new movie next week. You've interacted with Deng Xiaojiang on Weibo before. May I know if you'll really be acting in director Deng's new movie? A whole bunch of questions came out of the reporters' mouths like a machine gun. Not only were these guys asking questions, they were also trying to stuff their microphones into Qin Guang's face. The one closest to them almost stuffed the microphone into Qin Guang's mouth. There were a few times when he wanted to open his mouth to speak, but he ended up banging the microphone until his teeth hurt. Ever since he became a celebrity, this was the first time Qin Guang had encountered such a situation. He didn't want to admit it, but he was actually a little anxious. Oh my God, how can I answer all these questions? Moreover, there are a lot of things that I'm completely clueless about, okay? But if I don't say anything, will I look very ungentlemanly? Will I look like I don't know how to handle public relations? No, I have to do something. At the very least, I have to pretend to be an experienced person. No, that's not right. The old man is the great sage, right, Qin? The old man can even fool more than 170 billion people in the instantaneous sea. Why would he be afraid of you little reporters? At this moment, An extremely discordant voice emerged from the crowd. This guy's voice was very loud. Hello, Mr. Chin. I'm Zhuo Xiaowei, a special correspondent from 8 Weekly. Zhuo Wei is my father. Previously, there were rumors that your private life was very indecent. May I ask if the rumors are true? The little girl in the car with you is so beautiful. What is her identity? Does she have some unspeakable relationship with you? The noisy crowd suddenly quietened down. This guy's question was very sharp. Moreover, it was obvious that he was making groundless accusations. Up until now, Qin Guang's so-called indecent behavior could only be attributed to Zhuo Jingxi. However, Qin Guang didn't believe that anyone would notice his and Zhuo Jingxi's situation at that time. Other than that, perhaps Wenwen could also be counted as one. However, how could Wenwen's movements be captured by these people? An Annie? How could that be possible? So, this unlucky octopus was obviously here to stir up trouble. Zhuo Wei's words earlier were fishy. Now there was this Zhuo Xiaowei's impromptu performance. They must be trying to stir up some dirt on him to attract attention. He was right. Once Zhuo Xiaowei's question came out, no one else was in a hurry to ask. Everyone wanted to know how he would answer Zhuo Xiaowei's question. Seeing that his question had shocked the crowd and calmed them down, Zhuo Xiaowei was extremely pleased. Our Zhuo family still has 8 Weekly. They are an experienced team that specializes in stirring up dirt on us. I really didn't let my old man down. I've learned from him. Let's see how you answer. No matter what you say, I'll be able to come up with something. Even if you say no comment, it's fine. I can still come up with something. Zhuo Xiaowei had even thought of a title. Goddess's Romance exists in name only, all-round internet celebrity keeping his mistress away, avoiding private life. At that moment, Zhuo Xiaowei did not notice that the super beautiful little girl he claimed to have an unspeakable relationship with Qin Guang had quietly stood beside Qin Guang and stared at him. Qin Guang watched this scene and looked sympathetically at the smug young man. He thought to himself, to be honest, I really want to have an unspeakable relationship with Xan Qin, but I can't beat her. Zhuo Xiaowei did not know that danger was approaching. Seeing that Qin Guang was silent, he thought that he had hit the nail on the head. He pressed further. Qin Guang, please answer my question directly. After all, you are a public figure. Public figure? So what if I'm a public figure? Do you guys have to broadcast the entire process of a public figure squatting on the toilet? Qin Guang still did not speak. Instead, it was Xan Qin who spoke with her crisp voice. Zhuo Xiaowei looked at Xan Qin with some displeasure. This is a serious interview. Why is a high school student like you messing around? How much does Qin Guang give you every month for living expenses? Fine, he had already set up a very good identity for Xan Qin, a high school student who was kept as a mistress. Qin Guang rolled his eyes. Young man, why are you so good at this? I'm really thankful that you didn't say that I'm a middle school student. At least a high school student can reach the age of 16, so it's not illegal. I've seen people like you before. Now the grass on his grave is enough to start a horse farm. Zhuo Xiaowei from 8 Weekly, right? Didn't you just ask me what my identity is? Now you think I'm a high school student? You want to know how much I earn every month? Xan Qin tilted her head and blinked at Zhuo Xiaowei with her big, bright eyes. She looked very innocent, very pure, and very cute. Zhuo Xiaowei was overjoyed. He thought he had really caught a big scoop this time. This Qin Guang was not professional at keeping a mistress. He had actually found such an insensible one. Just now, he had deliberately thrown some blame at them so that he could make up some material when he went back. He never thought that he would actually get something out of her. Many of the other reporters' eyes were also shining. Although they were not paparazzi media like 8 Weekly, this was a super big scoop that could shake the entertainment industry. Who wouldn't want to get first-hand information at the first scene? That's right, young lady. As long as you're willing to have a good chat with me, I promise that 8 Weekly will give you 10 times the amount that Qin Guang gave you. Zhuo Xiaowei said resolutely. Xan Qin smiled again. He gave me 10 million last month and then he gave me 5 million last week. Mr. Zhuo, are you going to give me 150 million? Gasp. For a moment, the whole audience was silent, and there was the sound of people gasping. This little girl's maintenance fee was so high that it made people's hair stand on end. Many entertainment reporters even looked at Qin Guang eagerly. Their eyes seemed to be saying, Tycoon, do you still need a leg ornament? Is it limited to male and female? If necessary, it's not like we can't discuss it. Some entertainment reporters who were eager to get rich and felt that their image was passable tightened their buttocks a little, and their chrysanthemums inexplicably itched. Some of the female reporters even felt weak all over. Their eyes were burning, and their hearts itched uncontrollably. 15 million for 2 months. If it was true, it would be too scary. Chapter 607. How is that possible? Zhuo Xiaowei exclaimed. There were still some who remained rational. After all, spending 15 million to support a middle school student for 2 months was a little too much. As soon as Zhuo Xiaowei said that, many of the male and female reporters who had almost lost their minds gradually calmed down. Everyone looked at Chen Guang and Xan Qin suspiciously. On the other hand, Xan Qin gave Chen Guang a meaningful wink, which Chen Guang instantly understood. Fine, since you want to play, I'll play with you. Why not? Chen Guang finally answered. He took a step forward and stood in front of Zhuo Xiaowei, looking straight at him. Don't look down on the world of the rich just because you're poor. As he said that, he even put his hand on Xan Qin's shoulder and raised his eyebrows. You guys are frogs at the bottom of a well. How would you know how good a loli is? Look, have you ever seen such a beautiful loli? Chen Guang asked. Everyone followed his gaze and turned to look at Xan Qin. Previously, everyone's attention was on Chen Guang, and they only thought that the little girl next to him was pretty and obedient. Only after he deliberately reminded them to look carefully did they realize that this little girl was not as simple as just being pretty and obedient. Her silky hair hung down into her bangs, and a pair of big lively eyes that could make people forget their sadness at a glance were born on her small face that seemed to be carved out of fine jade. This little girl's beauty was completely different from the so-called internet celebrity faces that were especially popular nowadays. Instead, it was the kind that people could tell at a glance that she was naturally sculpted and had an oppressive aura. Her beauty was so recognizable that even those so-called fairies on TV paled in comparison when she was barefaced. Many people even had a faint feeling of regret in their hearts. How could such a beautiful little girl be kept as a mistress? Were they blind, or were they blinded by lard? How could they think that way? Xan Qin looked too innocent, too cute, and too unpretentious. She was completely unlike those seductive foxes outside. Then Chen Guang spoke again. How about it? It's worth 15 million, right? Also, she was already an adult, so it was not illegal. Let alone 15 million, I'll even give you 100 million. Many of the male compatriots' fantasies were shattered in an instant after they heard Chen Guang's words. These people even forgot that they were here for an interview today. One by one, they looked at Chen Guang as if they wanted to bite him to death. This guy was really wasting God's gift. What was wrong with such a beautiful little girl? Why did she become his mistress? In other words, you really spent 15 million on this girl? It was still Zhuo Xiaowei, the descendant of a prestigious family, who was the most professional. At this time, he was also the best at grasping the main point of the day, which was to dig up some juicy information. Chen Guang nodded. Yes. Does Jin Shirui know about this? Zhuo Xiaowei asked again. Chen Guang shook his head. She doesn't know. Zhuo Xiaowei's eyes became brighter and brighter. The other reporters also became more and more excited. Although it was indeed a pity for this little girl, this was the fate she had chosen. As for us poor losers, we can't care what you rich people do, but we can rely on your news to make money. When we become rich, we can also look for little girls. So, Mr. Chen, are you brazenly keeping a female student in front of Jin Shirui? Zhuo Xiaowei's questions became more and more unscrupulous. Xan Qin coughed lightly. Chen Guang silently took a step back, knowing that it was about time. Next, it was up to this little girl to play. In any case, Zhuo Xiaowei was the one who started it. No matter how unlucky he was, he deserved it. You with the surname Zhuo, when did you hear me say that I was a student? Xan Qin's face, which was originally smiling, suddenly turned cold. Zhuo Xiaowei froze at first, but he did not mention his earlier offer of 10 times the reward. Instead, he put on a fake smile and said, It doesn't matter now whether you're a student or not, right? As a reporter, I'm just asking questions that I have the right to ask. I have the right to report the immoral side of a public figure like Chen Guang to everyone. Moral? Xan Qin began to laugh coldly. How do you know that giving me money is immoral? Can't he just hire me? Hire you? Alright, in a sense, you and him are indeed in an employer-employee relationship. Isn't that right, everyone? Zhuo Xiaowei said meaningfully. He even deliberately raised his voice to ask the others, trying to drag everyone down with him. There were actually 2 or 3 people who snorted and echoed Zhuo Xiaowei's words. Then I'll tell you right now, who am I? Xan Qin suddenly made a move. She stretched out her hand like lightning and grabbed Zhuo Xiaowei's collar from bottom to top. I'm Chen Guang's bodyguard cum assistant. The salary to hire me is at least 20 million a year. Zhuo Xiaowei quickly calmed down after a brief moment of panic when he was suddenly grabbed by the collar. He looked at Xan Qin with a fake smile. Little girl, Do you want to see tomorrow's news right that Qin Guang's kept woman arrogantly hit people on the street? Bodyguard? Look at your skinny arms and legs. Don't make people laugh. His words stopped abruptly in less than 2 seconds, because his entire body was lifted up by Xn Qin, who was a head shorter than him, with what he called skinny arms. His feet left the ground. Do you still think I'm joking? Mr. Zhou Xiaowei from 8 Weekly? The petite Xn Qin single-handedly lifted the burly Zhou Xiaowei into the air. She raised her head and looked at him indifferently. This scene was full of a strong sense of incongruity, but it was true. Everyone subconsciously stepped back, all roaring in their hearts. We've made a mistake, really made a mistake. This little girl is not simple. You think my bodyguard is not worth 20 million a year? Xn Qin gently put one hand on the car roof behind her and exerted force with her palm. With a click, the car roof that was pressed by her palm suddenly changed shape and caved in. Many entertainment reporters were dumbfounded. This was completely beyond their understanding. This little girl is really a strange person. It seems that 20 million a year is worth it? After all, you have to be alive to spend the money. With such a skilled bodyguard, 20 million a year is completely understandable. Seeing that she had stunned these annoying reporters with one move, Xn Qin was satisfied. She didn't want those people from the Dart Association to see what she looked like because she didn't want to become a public figure because of her young age. Because when people become famous, they would have all kinds of troubles, and dealing with these reporters was one of them. Now there was no other way. Since that was the case, Xn Qin decided to show her dominance as the senior sister of the Thousand Despair sect. Her expression was cold and her heart roared, "Face the wind. Stupid reporters. Especially you, Zhua." Seeing these people's dumbfounded and frightened expressions, Xn Qin was very satisfied. As Qin Guang's assistant, she had won the first battle of public relations. Yes, the reporters were really panicking. This was the Passat's roof, a reliable piece of German craftsmanship, but it was flattened by her slender hand. Wait, this Passat seems a little wide. A little long? Forget it, don't worry about those details. Anyway, the car roof was flattened by her forcefully. She's very good, so it must be true. Xn Qin looked at Qin Guang again and raised her eyebrows slightly. Her small eyes seemed to say, "Hurry up and praise me." However, Qin Guang's face was even paler than the reporters and he seemed to be in shock. Xn Qin rolled her eyes. "Lord Zhuzhang, you seem to be a little too timid. Put me down." Zhou Xiaowei, who was raised in the air, seemed to have realized that he was in a bad situation after a brief moment of absent-mindedness. As he struggled with his legs, he clenched his hands, intending to pinch Xn Qin's arm and bite her hand. He believed that Xn Qin was Qin Guang's bodyguard, but he didn't know that this bodyguard was not the same as the bodyguards of ordinary celebrities. Disgusting. Just as Zhou Xiaowei's hands were about to grab her forearm, Xn Qin suddenly retracted her hands. Then, without waiting for him to land, she flicked his chest a few times with her fingertips. After Zhou Xiaowei landed on the ground, he sat on his butt. A few seconds later, he began to hold the place where Xn Qin's fingers had flicked and began to wail miserably. The other reporters subconsciously moved to the side and looked at this guy with disgust. They had seen this kind of trick many times in the past. It was called an accident. The girl had only lightly patted your chest. Did you have to cry like this? Even if you don't feel embarrassed, we in the same industry are. You bumped into a famous person, and under the eyes of so many reporters in the same industry. Aren't you making a fool of yourself? Just now you, a hothead, charged forward and attacked without a care for your life. That's why we gave you some face. But you can't be so unreasonable. Everyone, today is a press conference. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them during the press conference. However, today's topic revolves around Qingguang Agency. Please try not to ask questions that are not part of the topic. Xn Qin couldn't be bothered with Zhou Xiaowei on the ground anymore. Instead, she moved forward a little and reached out her hands to make a gesture to pull the people on the side out. These people had seen how powerful she was, so they didn't dare to block her and quickly made way for her. Xn Qin turned around and pulled Qin Guang. Seeing that he was still looking at the dent on the car with a pale face, she thought that he hadn't recovered from the shock. She exerted a little force and finally pulled him back to reality. "Hurry up and go upstairs. The press conference is about to start." Qin Guang followed Xn Qin a few steps like a zombie. Seeing that there was finally no one around the two of them, Xn Qin was a little angry. "Brother Qin Guang, you're someone who has seen a lot. Didn't I just flatten the car's roof? Do you have to be so scared? Your Wenwen's black chop is much more powerful than mine. It's not a problem for her to cut your car in half with a full force slash." "Wait. Xan Qin seemed to remember something. She pondered over her words. Your car? You finally remembered? That's right, that's my car. Qin Guang looked at her with eyes like a dead fish. His heart was still bleeding. My dear sister, I won't stop you from showing off. I'm proud of it. But don't use my car as a prop. It's said that a man's car is equivalent to half of his wife. With a slap from you, my wife went from a B cup to a negative A cup. Who am I going to complain to? The money is a small matter. The insurance company will definitely not pay for it. I'll just have to pay a few tens of thousands. But can you understand the pain in my heart? My baby is hurt by one of our own. Don't be like this. At most I'll pay for it. You don't have to pay for it. I gave you your money in the first place. If you pay for it, it'll be equivalent to me paying for it. I just feel sorry for my little Ting Ting. Little Ting Ting? Yeah, isn't Phaeton just little Ting Ting? Why not little Ting Ting Ting? You're the winner. When the two of them entered the elevator, only then did Qin Guang recover from his grief. At the same time he recalled that unlucky fellow Zhuo Xiaowei. In my opinion, you went too easy on that fellow. At the very least, you should have torn his mouth apart. I hate paparazzi reporters who take things out of context and distort the truth. They have no conscience and rely on smearing public figures to gain fame. I'm such an upright person, and he said that I have a promiscuous private life. He even pretended to be injured to make a scam? Where's his conscience as a journalist? Xan Qin suddenly asked, Does the white tiger look good? Qin Guang's expression did not change. The albino Bengal tiger is a white variant of the Bengal tiger. It's native to Yunnan, Myanmar, India, and Bangladesh. It's a first-class protected animal and India's national treasure. There are only about 210 white tigers left in the world. It's very rare. Due to the lack of camouflage, it's very difficult for them to survive in the natural world. We have to protect them. Shameless. Xan Qin stepped on his foot. Qin Guang expressed that the invincible heavenly leg plate was not afraid of this kind of insignificant sneak attack. Actually, I hit him quite hard just now. He wasn't faking it. He was really in pain. Qin Guang stared. What? I saw that you didn't just use your fingers to flick him a few times? Could it be that this is the long-lost acupoint technique of Jianghu? You hit his pain acupoint? Nothing like that. You're completely wrong. First, the acupoint technique is not completely lost. It's just that I don't know how to do it. At least from what I know, the sunflower sect's sunflower acupoint technique is still good. They're really in pain. Although I know acupoints, what I'm doing is called the acupoint sealing technique. It's just injecting my inner force into someone else's body and forcefully using it to seal their meridians. Also, I didn't seal his acupoints. He's just an ordinary person. If I really sealed his acupoints, I'm afraid he'd die. Just now, I really cracked a few of his ribs with my bone. That's why he's screaming in pain. So ruthless? Not bad. I like it. It's just that we might have a big grudge with them. What's there to be afraid of? You won't have the money to pay for it anyway. That seems to be the case, right? But why aren't you the one paying? Didn't you just say it? Anyway, you're the one who gave me the money. Is the white tiger nice? Nice. Do you want to see more? Helping my assistant come bodyguard to pay for the lawsuit is my responsibility as a small boss. Don't fight me for it. Qin Guang's guess was right. As he and Xan Qin went upstairs, the other reporters also hurried up to join the press conference. Poor Zhuo Xiaowei cried on the floor for a long time. In the end, no one paid any attention to him. In the meantime, the hotel staff came by once, intending to comfort him. It turned out to be a very fashionable man. Before the man left, he said, I recognize you. You're the paparazzi with the surname Zhuo, the one who screamed online about celebrities with the surname L taking drugs. You've caused so much trouble for my Ronaldo. Keep screaming, I'm too lazy to care about you. Zhuo Xiaowei had to call 120 himself for an ambulance. Lying on the floor, the hot August sun shone on his face, making him feel uncomfortable. The broken ribs on his chest felt like they were being scratched by a bear's claw. It hurt like hell. He gritted his teeth. Qin, and that shameless little girl who pretended to be a pig to eat a tiger, I'm not done with you. Oh my God, it hurts so much. Chapter 608. By the way, the first batch of our Guangdong Bureau's employees are already on standby in the 5 capitals. After the press conference today and the company is officially established, we have to recruit them as soon as possible. Before the elevator door opened, Xan Qin suddenly thought of this matter and said. Qin Guang only grunted through his nose. The hard-working deputy director was much more attentive to this matter than the director himself. Very good, I like this kind of assistant who only thinks that she is not busy enough all day long and takes on all the work. Chen Guang wasn't afraid that he would become a mere figurehead. Now that he had taken on this unlucky director position, it was only because the trouble between him and Wenwen with those internal forces wasn't over yet. Once that was over, he wasn't interested in being the imperial court's dog anymore. How could it be more comfortable to listen to someone else's orders than to mess around blindly all day long? Wu Tong was the new branch director of the Science and Technology Division, which made people envious. Wasn't her father still able to come back to Beijing whenever he wanted? Right now, all he could think about was how to face Tang Ying when he saw her later. Sister Tang Ying wasn't easy to fool, but he couldn't let her know the truth either. This meant that he had somehow become a man who relied on a woman to get his position. Actually, this wasn't the case at all. But according to a normal person's train of thought, as long as they knew about his relationship with Tang Ying, they would definitely think that Tang Xiaokai was throwing a huge sum of money at him because of Tang Ying. Without a doubt, Tang Ying was the normal person who knew the truth. As the elevator slowly opened, Qin Guang peeked his head in. Just as he had expected, Tang Ying was standing by the door with her hands crossed, looking at him with a frosty expression. Standing behind her were 17 to 18 people, and Qin Guang guessed that they should be from the Tang Jie Fund. Tang Ying tried her best to keep a straight face. She wanted to put Qin Guang in his place. After all, in her impression, Qin Guang didn't seem to be a business-minded person. This was a $20 million investment project. If Qin Guang was really in charge of it, wouldn't his reputation skyrocket? In the end, her cold face didn't even last 5 minutes in front of Qin Guang. She really didn't want to admit that she was soft-hearted. Anyway, when she saw Qin Guang's sneaky expression, she couldn't help but laugh in her heart. Qin Guang hadn't thought of how to deal with Tang Ying when she put on a straight face. She smiled, walked up to him and gave him a dirty look. You're so cocky this time. Don't you want to be rich all day long? Do you look down on rich people? Now that you're rich yourself, what are you going to do? Qin Guang scratched his head. Damn, Tang Ying's expression just now was too scary. He really thought she was going to scold him. This happened quite suddenly. To be honest, it was brother little Kai who made the first move. I was just lying down at home when he said he wanted to invest in me. At that time, I didn't agree. I thought to myself, how can I do that? Brother little Kai's money, doesn't that mean Sister Ying's family's money? How can I rely on your money to become rich? I rejected him harshly, but he wouldn't let me. He even said that if I didn't agree, he would donate the money to the Marine Conservation Organization. I thought to myself, how can that be? If it's left with me, at least I can get a few blisters, but if it's thrown into the sea, I won't even be able to see a ghost shadow. I was forced to do something beyond my capabilities. This was the advantage of being thick-skinned. Qin Guang could easily lie through his teeth. No matter what, Tang Ying didn't seem to be very happy, so he decided to throw all the blame to little Kai first. Of course, he was a self-reliant young man. Tang Ying suddenly understood. She actually believed Qin Guang's words. She had always known that although Qin Guang loved money, he wasn't greedy. He was also someone who cared about his reputation. The establishment of Qingguang Agency this time was most likely due to little Kai's enthusiasm. Now that the two of them had matched each other's statements, Qin Guang was right. Tang Ying patted his shoulder and began to comfort him. Don't worry, it's fine if I didn't know about it. Now that I'm involved, I can't let things go wrong. You don't have much experience, but it's fine. I'll help you. Since the company has been set up, we have to make it look good. The competition you organized a few days ago was pretty good. Shall we do it again next month? To be honest, Sister Tang Ying, I think you're slightly more unreliable than me. Qin Guang rolled his eyes. Just from her words, he knew that she was in the same league as him. What the hell do you know about business? You're just a doctor, okay? Even a normal person could understand that the first time a competition like the Throne Challenge was held, it was because it was fresh. If you held it every other month, people would know that they would definitely lose. Who would still participate? The passion of the audience wouldn't be enough for you to continue spending money like this, okay? He couldn't help but feel deeply worried about the future of Qingguang Agency. He was in the top position and all he could think about was squandering and spending money. The second position was a female doctor who thought she knew how to do business, but in fact she only knew how to play with a scalpel. Forget it, we're all in the same league. This way when we squander we'll definitely lose in style and taste. As the group walked in, the other people from the Tang Jie Foundation secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Previously, Tang Ying had been putting on a cold face. Everyone thought that she had something against the new internet celebrity, Qin Guang. They all thought that when the two people in charge of the new company met, there would be a huge commotion. However, the two of them were so familiar with each other. It seemed like they knew each other long ago. They were relieved that they were on the same side. As they walked, Tang Ying suddenly tugged on Qin Guang's sleeve and asked in a low voice, "Hey, who's this pretty girl?" Qin Guang went along with what Qin said. "She's my bodyguard and assistant." Bodyguard and assistant? Stop it or I'll tell Wu Tong. Of course Tang Ying didn't believe his nonsense. Qin Guang wasn't afraid of a crooked shadow. "I'm not joking with you. A real bodyguard. You'll know when you see the news later. Before we came up just now, someone from 8 Weekly had already caused trouble downstairs." Tang Ying was surprised. 8 Weekly? They're not a good media. They're always slandering people. In the entire entertainment industry, I'm afraid only your Jin Shiyue and a few other celebrities haven't been slandered by them. What do you mean by your Jin Shiyue? You're still joking with me. It doesn't matter. I'm not afraid of them slandering me. So what if I hit her? What? You even beat him up? As a female comrade with a penchant for gossip, Tang Ying usually paid attention to gossip. She instantly realized the seriousness of the situation. It wasn't good for a celebrity to hit someone, let alone someone from 8 Weekly. Wouldn't they be slandered? Yes, she hit him and even broke him. Qin Guang turned to look at Qin. Qin put up 5 fingers. Qin Guang added, 5 ribs. 5 ribs. Oh my god. Hurry up and get Jin Shiyue to help you. If not, our company will be shut down before it even opens for business. Tang Ying was anxious. Qin Guang coughed and said softly, "I've already hit her and they know who I am. They will still slander me. What's the use of asking Jin Shiyue to help them? Besides, you know that Jin Shiyue and I are innocent. How can we trouble her for such a small matter?" At this moment, Qin Guang couldn't wait to cut off his relationship with Jin Shiyue. So how could he ask for help for something like this? What if Jin Shiyue's grandfather came after him again? Although Jin Shiyue might be able to resolve this matter, wouldn't he be walking right into a trap? Forget it. That's true. Tang Ying's brows were tightly knitted together. She felt that her position as the vice president of Tianguang Talent Agency was starting off on a bad note. Her company hadn't even been officially established yet, and she had already offended the notorious paparazzi team of the entertainment industry. Her future was bleak. Sister Ying, calm down first. Those who want to achieve great things shouldn't be bothered by trifles. You are our deputy CEO. If you are frowning over such a small matter, won't your employees lose confidence for nothing? That's true. I don't think I'm cut out for this. There are many things to do in the hospital. Why don't I ask little Kai to send someone else here? I don't think I can help you much. I think so too. Qin Guang quickly agreed. He hoped that Tang Ying would leave. Unexpectedly, Tang Ying turned to look at him. You want me to leave so badly? I won't. I didn't want to care about this at first, but I can't. This is my family's money. I realized that if it were someone else, no matter who it is, they wouldn't be able to control you or this matter. Well, it had the opposite effect. Qin Guang touched his forehead. He didn't know why, but it felt a little hot. There were no more problems at the press conference. The reporters had planned to ask about the relationship between Qin Guang and Jin Shiyue, but Qin had been standing behind Qin Guang with her hands behind her back, glaring at the audience. Many of the reporters recalled what had happened downstairs, especially the Passat that had been dented. Zhou Xiaowei from Octave Weekly had been beaten up. Although they didn't know how badly injured he was, it seemed that he had been sent to the hospital. It was better not to invite trouble. This new internet celebrity didn't seem to play by the rules. Before they figured out his temperament, they shouldn't look for trouble. The entire press conference lasted for about half an hour. There was nothing new. Tang Ying, as the representative of the Tangjie Foundation, read the script and explained why the Tangjie Foundation had chosen to cooperate with Qin Guang. It was because it was the information age. It was rare to find a new type of internet celebrity like Qin Guang who could provide original content and had the titles of the world champion of darts and Dota. Both parties would build the Tianguang agency around Qin Guang and go all out to unearth the all-rounder's IP for greater economic benefits. Then Qin Guang stood up again. He also held the script that Tang Xiaokai had arranged for someone to write for him. He read it and was done. Then today's press conference will end here. Thank you, friends from the news media, for coming. Although there was a little unpleasantness downstairs, our CEO Qin didn't have any ill intentions. It was really because the staff of Octave Weekly had no professional ethics. We have prepared small gifts for our friends from the media at the entrance of the conference room. Please don't forget to collect them later. Although he didn't send anyone at the deputy CEO level over, Tang Xiaokai still helped Chen Guang set up the basic structure of the company's leadership. At this moment, the host of the press conference was the temporary administrative manager. He was also in charge of the public relations department. His name was Yu Hong, a very capable middle-aged man. At this moment, the door of the press conference was suddenly pushed open. A fat man in his 40s or 50s barged in angrily. There were 3 to 6 men in black behind him. What do you mean by no professional ethics? My son was doing a normal interview and was sent to the hospital by your people. He broke 5 ribs. Who is the one with no professional ethics? Qin Guang. You have to give me Zhuo Wei an explanation. Otherwise this matter won't end. I'll see you in court. The fat man walked forward quickly. The staff wanted to stop him, but they were all restrained by the men in black beside Zhuo Wei. Qin Guang's eyes narrowed slightly. After beating up the young one, the old one came. That was fast. It was impossible that Zhuo Wei didn't know that Xan Qi knew martial arts and was a powerful bodyguard. Yet he still dared to barge into the conference. Either he had an expert by his side or he knew that he would be in trouble and deliberately brought people to get beaten up. He was waiting for things to get out of hand. As the company's current head of public relations, Yu Hong reacted quickly. He walked up to Zhuo Wei. Mr. Zhuo, this is our press conference venue. If you have anything to say, you can say it in private. It's not very convenient for us now. Get lost. You have no right to speak here. Unexpectedly, Zhuo Wei didn't give him any face at all. Zhuo Wei was the leader of 8 weekly magazines. 8 weekly magazines was a famous paparazzi organization in the country, but its base was in the 5 capital region. He had been operating in the 5 capital region for many years. His own son was actually beaten up and seriously injured right under his nose. He was already furious. Moreover, he was here to cause trouble. Of course, his attitude had to be arrogant enough. Otherwise, how could he make the matter bigger and livelier? Talk in private? No way. I want to take advantage of the fact that this is a press conference. The other reporters haven't left yet. While you guys are holding back, I want to make the matter bigger. Zhuo Wei secretly made a gesture. From the corner of his eyes, the man in black beside him reached out and pushed Yu Hong. Yu Hong looked like a weak scholar. He didn't expect Zhuo Wei's people to be so daring. He was pushed back and fell backward. His head hit the corner of the chair behind him heavily. His forehead was scraped hard and blood started to flow. Blood was seen on the stage. Zhuo Wei was a little flustered at first, but he was secretly happy. Anyway, Qin Guang was a famous person. Although Zhuo Wei's fame wasn't small, everyone knew what kind of person he was. He didn't care about his reputation at all. It was good that he got hurt. He continued to look at Qin Guang with a face full of pride. In his heart he kept saying, "Come on, do it. Beat me up. I have 19 cameras hidden on me. They will clearly record the scene of you making a move. I guarantee that you'll have to prepare at least a few million to buy this big news from me. Other than that, you can just wait to enjoy my 24/7 surveillance. I guarantee that I'll clearly take pictures of whatever color of underwear you like to wear and the size of your little penis." Chapter 609. The atmosphere at the scene became extremely awkward. Yu Hong, who was accidentally injured, slowly stood up with the help of the staff. The wound on his head was a little big, and blood was still flowing out from the gaps between his fingers that were covering the wound. Many reporters from other major media companies crowded together, drawing a clear line between them and Zhuo Wei. No matter what, this was someone else's press conference. Your son deserved to be beaten up for picking a fight. Even if others did go a little overboard compared to you bringing a bodyguard to wreak havoc in the heavenly palace, they really paled in comparison. What's more, there was blood. Things were getting out of hand. But what was Qin Guang going to do? How was this newly established Qinguang agency going to deal with this? Everyone looked towards the direction where Qin Guang and Tang Ying were standing side by side. At this time, Qin Guang was squinting at Zhuo Wei. No one knew what he was thinking, but they were sure that he was not very happy. Tang Ying's brows were tightly knitted. She pulled on Qin Guang's collar from behind and quickly turned to the staff member beside her to quickly move the first aid kit from the trunk of her car. Although the wound on Yu Hong's head looked frightening, Tang Ying was a top doctor who excelled in both internal and external medicine. She also had a wealth of clinical experience as a chief surgeon. The effect of her emergency treatment on Yu Hong's head was better than sending him to a nearby hospital. Seeing that Yu Hong's head was bleeding more and more, although Zhuo Wei was a little regretful, he did not panic at all. He could not wait for Qin Guang to fly into a rage and hit him on the spot. Why did he have to eat so much? Wasn't it because he had to rely on the thick layer of fat on his body to block the damage when he was hit? Full-fat armor was super easy to use. It had first-class shock absorption and resistance. No matter how long he wore it, he would not feel any pain. It provided 24/7 security. Anyone who used it would know. As for the compensation for injuring Yu Hong, Zhuo Wei was also not worried. Wasn't it just a small wound on his head? How much compensation could he pay? His son even had a few broken ribs. Everyone should take turns to pay, so he should be the one paying. As for Qin Guang's bodyguard, Zhuo Wei was also paying attention to it. As long as the girl came over, he would fall to the ground. It wouldn't matter even if he got beaten up by her, since he wouldn't be crippled. He did not believe that with so many reporters present, Qin Guang would dare to let his bodyguard cripple him. Kid, I know you were quite capable in the past. As a professional intelligence agent, I am naturally clear about the grudges between you and Su Lixing. But I, Zhuo Wei, am not Su Lixing. As people in the media, we have our own philosophy of survival. Public opinion is our weapon. We use our fists to fight with real knives and guns. That's just a pretense. What we are best at is using a soft knife to skin you bit by bit. If you're just a nobody, perhaps I might not be able to do anything to you. But you're a celebrity on the internet, and you've just received an investment of $20 million. You're intending to show off your capabilities. But if you really want to make a name for yourself in the entertainment industry, you have to be like countless people in the past and worship me. Do you think I am the #1 paparazzi in China for nothing? Even if you look like a volcano that is about to erupt, and even if you beat me up today, it does not matter. You will bow down sooner or later, just like many people in the past. This was not the first time that Zhuo Wei and his 8 weekly magazines had faced or created a situation similar to today's. Whether it was Zhuo Wei himself or his peers who were watching, they all understood that Zhuo Wei was a difficult person to deal with. 8 weekly magazines was a media that they could not afford to offend. Even if there were too many people who hated them, Zhuo Wei and his 8 weekly magazine were still living comfortably. They were the troublemakers of the entertainment industry. They could also be said to be the dark forces in the industry. Of course, the existence of people like them also played a role in supervising the artists. After all, they had exposed real scandals and caught 2 or 3 artists who were suspected of taking drugs. Their specialty was to uncover scandals. If they couldn't uncover anything, they would create their own scandals. For example, they would get their reporters to purposely run in front of the hot-tempered celebrity and turn on the flash to take pictures of the celebrity's eyes. Tomorrow's headlines would be, XX acts like a big shot, hits reporters, smashes cameras. F***CK, I was just walking and you blinded me with your flash. What's wrong with me smashing your camera? But the public did not think about this. When they saw the headlines and read the text that was taken out of context, they would say, why is this celebrity so uncultured? What kind of lousy celebrity is this? Isn't he just a hooligan? The artists were confused. No matter how wrong they were, there was nothing they could do about it. Others could find ways to slander them. No one was perfect, who didn't have any flaws. People like Zhuo Wei were best at magnifying other people's trivial flaws in front of everyone. Also, when they couldn't get any big news, they would run to the tall building opposite the art gallery and set up a telescope. Then a new bombshell was brewed, XXX bold style, naked in his bedroom, accompanied by a pornographic photo that was clearly taken clearly, but was actually deliberately fogged to make it look hazy. The artist who was photographed wanted to F***CK Zhuo Wei. He couldn't even take off his clothes in his own bedroom. But no matter how angry he was, he had no choice. This kind of news couldn't be released. Once it was released, his image would be ruined. At this moment, Zhuo Wei said, "You don't want to publish it? Fine, 2 million. I'll delete the photo." After he got the money, no one would know whether he deleted the photo or not. But he wouldn't be able to publish it for a while. There was also the question of who was cheating, who was stealing from the parking lot, or who was looking for someone who looked similar to the artist and posed for a photo. Or, it could be that he had received money from some company to deliberately target the other party's competitor. Or, it could be that he simply couldn't stand the sight of someone and stalked them to secretly take photos to slander them. As long as he could make use of the artist's cherishing of their reputation to make money, he, Zhuo Wei, would do it even if he had to poke a hole in the sky. Of course, there were some people he wouldn't provoke easily. For example, Jin Shirue, Jiang Yage, and a few other artists who were similar in status to the 2 women. It wasn't that Zhuo Wei didn't want to provoke them. It was just that these people had too big of a background. Of course, for someone like him who had control over public opinion, he wasn't afraid of them no matter how big of a background they had. It was just that he had previously sent out a few people to stalk them, but those people were still locked up in some prisons for espionage. Zhuo Wei really couldn't afford to provoke them. The paparazzi under his name didn't dare to stalk them either. They could still take a photo of them when they bumped into them, but stalking them was a different matter altogether. Without a doubt, this situation that Zhuo Wei had single-handedly directed was the first big crisis that Qingguang Agency, which had just been established for less than half an hour, was facing. Everyone knew that Zhuo Wei was here for money, but Qingguang and his Qingguang Agency couldn't give in so easily. Their own people were already bleeding, how could they still talk about money with others? If this matter were to spread out and land in the industry, it would definitely solidify the reputation of being weak and easily bullied. Even if 8 Weekly Magazine dealt with it, there was still 9 Weekly Magazine, Hexagram Weekly Magazine, Dog Eyes World, Chaoyang News Agency, and so on and so forth. These people would be like sharks that smelled blood and would flock to them. No matter how big a company was, it wouldn't be enough to cause so much trouble. Although Qingguang planned to squander this time, he definitely wouldn't let his money feed the dogs. But if he really took action, it would go along with Zhuo Wei's wishes, and the situation would be difficult for him to back down. Many sharp-witted reporters started guessing in their hearts. It was obvious that the person with the most experience in public relations at Qingguang Agency was the host, Yu Hong. Unfortunately, he was holding his head and was about to collapse. Miss Tang Ying, the vice president of Tangjie Foundation, seemed to be quite mature, but no one knew how she was going to handle it. Tang Ying was also anxious at this moment, but she had no choice. She was a doctor. After a slight hesitation, she said to Qingguang, "I'll bring Yu Hong to the back to stitch up his wounds. Don't do anything rash, don't do anything rash." Yu Hong's injuries couldn't be delayed, and the bleeding had to be stopped as soon as possible. There were too many people in the conference room, and the air wasn't circulating, which wasn't good for disinfection. They had to move. Qingguang smiled at Tang Ying. "It's okay, don't worry, I definitely won't do anything rash." He smiled very kindly and calmly. Tang Ying was momentarily dazed. She really thought that this little brother of hers had grown up recently, become more sensible and mature. "All right, we'll go to the back first." Zhuo Wei wasn't in a hurry to make things difficult. After Tang Ying brought people with her to help Yu Hong away, he continued to stiffen his neck and took a step forward. "Mr. Qin, I'm very sorry for accidentally injuring your employee. I'll pay for this. However, my son has 5 broken ribs. How are you going to explain this matter?" Xan Qin took 2 steps forward and walked past Qingguang. She said in a low voice, "I'll settle him." Qingguang pulled Xan Qin back. "I'll settle this matter. Don't interfere." He wasn't afraid that Xan Qin would accidentally kill someone. With Xan Qin's kung fu, she would still have some sense of propriety. Qingguang was just angry. He wouldn't feel comfortable if he didn't do something. The old man's thoughts weren't clear. "Since you're asking for a beating, if I don't satisfy you, how can I face myself and you? Mr. Qin, how about we settle this privately for 2 million? When Qingguang walked closer, Zhuo Wei lowered his voice and sneered. Qingguang was so angry that he laughed. "Isn't it just money? Is there a need to make such a big fuss? Does the #1 paparazzi in China have such a small appetite?" Zhuo Wei was a little stunned. Zhuo Xiaowei's medical fees were at most tens of thousands. He felt that his asking price was high enough, but he ended up being laughed at? "What do you mean?" He looked at Qingguang warily. He was a little excited and nervous. Could it be that Qingguang wanted to increase the price? Also, although he was mentally prepared to be beaten up, he was the one who became famous after beating up a famous person. Although Qingguang was an internet celebrity, he was the #1 internet celebrity in China. He was quite influential in the world and had many fans overseas. However, getting beaten up was like getting an injection. Even if he was mentally prepared, he would still be nervous. "It's nothing. I just think it's funny. That's why a dog can't stop eating *T. You made such a big scene and even made my man bleed. I thought you were really going to turn the world upside down. In the end, you only want 2 million? If a person who can't be seen in public wears a suit, then he can't be seen in public either." Qingguang said seriously. He wasn't joking. Zhuo Wei was dressed like a successful person, and Qingguang was wearing a t-shirt today. He was very casual and looked like a college student. However, he had made 48 million from the competition he organized previously. His daily income was more than a few $100,000. Previously, he was almost intimidated by Tang Ying's title as the #1 paparazzi in China. But now Zhuo Wei's words had exposed one thing. No matter where the #1 paparazzi was, a paparazzi was still a paparazzi. He couldn't change his nature of eating sh*t. No matter how expensive sh*t was, it couldn't be more expensive than diamonds. So what do you want? Zhuo Wei shook his fat body. Today he would either get the money or get the scoop to earn more money. He looked around proudly at his peers who were all focused on him. He thought to himself, kids, watch out. I'll let you see what it means to be a top media person. If there's no news, then I'll create news. The highest level of creating news is to turn myself into news. Debts must be paid. Murder must be paid with one's life. It's only right and proper. I'll slowly pay for your son's medical fees. It's fine if you want to go to court or settle it privately. I'll slowly accompany you. But your man made my employee bleed. I'll pay too. No need. I'll take it myself. The moment Qin Guang finished speaking, he suddenly made a move. He pushed Zhuo Wei's fat body to the side and took a step forward towards the man in black who had pushed Yu Hong. He made a move. He really made a move. All the reporters, including the Tang Jie Foundation's employees, were dumbfounded. They really thought that Qin Guang was going to negotiate with the man, but it turned out that he didn't want to negotiate from the start. He was going to make a move. You're a celebrity. You've just set up a company. Yet you're hitting someone at your own company's press conference. Aren't you a little too ridiculous? Only Xan Qin rolled her eyes in disdain. She curled her lips and muttered softly, if you want to hit someone, just hit him. Why do you have to talk so much? On the other end, Qin Guang had already grabbed the man's arm at lightning speed. Among ordinary people, Qin Guang was considered rather tall. After all, he was slightly more than 1.8 meters tall. However, this man in black was a strong man that Zhuo Wei had carefully selected. He was 1.9 meters tall and looked extremely strong. His entire body seemed to be thicker than Qin Guang's. Brother all-rounder would probably be at a disadvantage, right? The reporters and the Tang Jie Foundation were worried. Actually, Zhuo Wei was a little flustered. He was here to ask for a beating. If his bodyguard were to injure him instead, it would feel good. However, he wouldn't be in the right and would have to pay for it. Therefore, Zhuo Wei desperately winked at his bodyguard, telling him not to act recklessly. Wait, the situation doesn't seem right? Zhuo Wei suddenly realized that Qin Guang was only holding his bodyguard's arm with one hand, but his very strong bodyguard's face turned pale. Bastard! Let go. The strong man was pinched with his left hand that pushed Yu Hong down, but his right hand was free. He raised his fist high and tried to hit Qin Guang. Gangzi, don't mess around. Zhuo Wei shouted subconsciously. It hurts, boss. It hurts. The strong man named Gangzi roared and swung his right fist down. Qin Guang's expression still didn't change. He just gently raised his left hand and caught Gangzi's right fist. Don't worry, it will hurt very soon. After a moment, Gangzi's temples broke out in a cold sweat, and his pale face quickly turned pale. There was a sudden cracking sound in the quiet conference room. Everyone's pupils shrank, and their eyes all looked at the place where Qin Guang used his right hand to pinch Gangzi's left forearm. Strange, the sound just now seemed to come from this place? Then Qin Guang loosened his right hand and pushed again with his left hand. Gangzi covered his hand and stepped back 2 steps. He sat down on the ground. His face was covered with dense beads of sweat that flowed down his face, as if he was enduring great pain. Boss, my hand is broken. Gangzi's teeth were chattering and he said in a hoarse voice. As soon as they heard this, seeing that their buddy was injured, the other bodyguards who were planning to move closer to Qin Guang suddenly stopped. Zhuo Wei was also shocked and opened his mouth wide. He couldn't believe his ears. The other reporters were not much better. How could there be such a thing? They didn't see him use much strength. He just used his 5 fingers to pinch someone's forearm and the bones were broken? Bullsh*t. This Gangzi was not a small thin man. His forearm was as thick as an ordinary person's calf. Qin Guang looked back at Zhuo Wei and shrugged. Whichever hand he used to hurt my staff, I will break his hand. You should be glad that he didn't hit it with his head. Otherwise, I would have broken his neck. Well, you can slowly look for a disability certificate. I don't care how much compensation I have to pay. Anyway, I have money. I can be so capricious. Zhuo Wei slowly stepped back. He would rather Qin Guang jump up and fight with him hysterically. It would be more comfortable than him smiling and casually breaking the bones of his own bodyguard. Zhuo Wei had seen a lot of celebrities and was beaten by celebrities, but he had never encountered such a style. He was smiling at you, but the result was that he suddenly broke the hand of your strong bodyguard. He broke it. Broken. This guy must be a lunatic, right? Zhuo Wei thought. Qin Guang made a pose that he thought was handsome. I know you have a camera on you. Come, take a picture of me to make me look more handsome. *CK This is a lunatic. Zhuo Wei and the reporters present thought at the same time. The people from the Tangjia Foundation were not any better. Others wanted to take a picture of you. Who the *CK would care if you were handsome or not? Chapter 610. Zhuo Wei was a little scared, but Qin Guang's words gave him a little more courage. That's right, don't I have a camera on me? It's not an ordinary camera, it's a real-time recording which will be uploaded to the cloud server through the 4G network. As long as Qin Guang makes a move, my camera will record it, and that will be the evidence. What am I afraid of? As long as I can get something big enough, even if he's arrogant now, he'll have to surrender sooner or later. Who wouldn't be afraid of getting a bad reputation? Even if he's a terrible artist, wouldn't he have to wear a hypocritical mask? Zhuo Wei's strong desire for money, and he thought he understood the mind of an artist, so his courage gradually returned to him. Just now, when he broke Gang Zi's hand, the whole process was too strange, and he wasn't brutal and fierce enough on the camera. After editing, the audience couldn't form the impression that Qin Guang was a very rude person. That footage wasn't fierce enough. 300% profit was enough to make people crazy. This time, if things went well, he would strengthen his surveillance on Qin Guang and casually shoot something. Zhuo Wei was confident that he could make this a big business with millions of dollars. Didn't he just say that 2 million was too low? Qin Guang, you intentionally hurt people. I'm going to sue you. I'll sue you and put you in jail. Zhuo Wei, who regained his courage, no longer retreated. Instead, he took a step forward and at the same time, he waved his hand and ordered the people behind him, "Call the police." Call the police? Qin Guang was so angry that he laughed. He was the one who found trouble, and he was the one who called the police after being unlucky. This person's skin was really thick to a new level. But after thinking about it, Qin Guang immediately felt relieved. In a certain sense, someone like Zhuo Wei might have offended many people in the Vanity Fair, but he's still so carefree. Aside from the fact that he has too much dirt on various celebrities, his ability to use the law was also the reason why he's able to survive. For ordinary people, the law was what they relied on to protect their legal rights. However, for people like Zhuo Wei who had a professional team, they often used their familiarity with the law to exploit loopholes in the law. They could protect themselves and at the same time disgust others. For example, in today's incident, although Yu Hong's injuries were not light, they had their own recordings. They could say that it was an accident and they could compensate for it. But for Qin Guang, in Zhuo Wei's view, although the process of him breaking Gang Zi's hand seemed very strange, as long as it was done properly, it could be considered as intentional injury. Even if they couldn't really sue him for an artist, if he was brought to court, no matter what the final verdict was, it would be a big deal. He didn't believe that Qin Guang wasn't afraid. However, Qin Guang was not afraid. What kind of joke was this? What kind of status did the Special Affairs Bureau have? They could even put an end to a murder case. The old man's Guangdong General Headquarters was a substitute for the Special Affairs Bureau. Although it was not as ruthless and overbearing as the Special Affairs Bureau, it was you who was looking for trouble from the beginning to the end. You were the one who stirred up trouble. How could the higher-ups not understand what kind of person you were, Zhuo Wei? The old man was also the chief instructor of the Shunde Special Training Camp. He had a license. How could the old men not support me? I don't believe that you'll be able to sue me after I've injured you alone. Isn't it just money? Can't I compensate you? Come on. Let's hurt each other. So, Qin Guang did as he wished and reached out to choke him again. Zhuo Wei was overjoyed. You finally made a move. He moved forward with his belly out, hoping that Qin Guang would punch him in the stomach. That way it would look like he was beaten badly, but in fact he wouldn't suffer any injuries. However, Qin Guang didn't do as he wished. Instead, just like how Xian Qin had lifted Zhuo Xiaowei earlier, he used a little force with his right hand and easily lifted Zhuo Wei, who weighed 100 kilograms, up. It was fate that the father and son met today. They were lifted into the air one after the other. Sure enough, father and son were soldiers in battle. At first, Zhuo Wei was really happy. However, as time went on, the grip on his neck tightened, and he couldn't even breathe properly. Zhuo Wei's heart skipped a beat. Oh my God, is this guy trying to strangle me to death? Moreover, he also realized something. With his physique and weight, he was actually lifted up by Qin Guang with one hand. Just how much strength did this guy have? He regretted it. He had underestimated his enemy. From the photo, Qin Guang didn't look particularly sturdy, so he thought that he wouldn't be seriously injured. However, based on the current situation, if Qin Guang's fist landed on his face, it seemed like his neck would really snap. Breathing was getting more and more difficult, and his brain was starting to lack oxygen. Zhuo Wei kicked his legs with all his might, trying to pry Qin Guang's fingers off with his bare hands. However, it was useless. No matter how fat he was in the face of Qin Guang's invincible Qilin arm, with his strong physique, he was like a chicken caught by an eagle. The reporters had witnessed everything from the start to the end. They saw Zhuo Wei being lifted up and pretending to struggle. At the same time, the cameras on his body were aimed at Qin Guang in an attempt to capture his ferocious expression. However, Qin Guang had a faint smile on his face the entire time. Then Zhuo Wei's fake struggle turned into a real struggle. His face turned from red to white and then to green. He really couldn't breathe. Let me go. I'm begging you, let me down. Due to the lack of oxygen, his thoughts started to become unclear. His desire to live finally overwhelmed his desire for money, and he gave in. Qin Guang loosened his grip, and Zhuo Wei fell to the ground. He covered his neck and started to gasp for air. The feeling of escaping from death was very clear, very real. Zhuo Wei really felt that if he hadn't begged for mercy just now, he might really have died there. He felt that his biggest mistake today was underestimating the craziness and arrogance of this new internet celebrity, Qin Guang. He really shouldn't have personally led the team here. He was so unlucky. Scram. Qin Guang looked down at him and didn't say much. He only spat out those words coldly. Zhuo Wei, who felt that he had escaped from death, didn't dare stay any longer. He quickly got up and staggered out of the room, knocking over a few chairs as he stumbled. It wasn't until he was out the door that Zhuo Wei suddenly remembered that he still had one of his men sitting on the ground howling. He hurriedly called back two of his men who had rushed out with him. Hurry and get Gangzi back. After a long struggle, Zhuo Wei and his men came valiantly and energetically, but they ran away like stray dogs. My friends from the media, I'm sorry to have let you see such a joke. After these people left, Qin Guanzai put on a smile on his face and chuckled at the stunned reporters. Actually, I'm not usually like this. It's just that this guy is too arrogant and I really can't contain my anger. I've made a fool of myself in front of everyone. Qin Guang will return the favor tenfold. In the future, please take care of me. Qin Guang was actually saying, it's not a coincidence that you all saw this today, but you all saw who was the one looking for trouble first. When you go back, don't make things up about me. That way everyone will be happy. The reporters were all smart people and their minds were sharp. Although exposing scandals could attract attention, no one dared to turn on the camera. A young man secretly took out his phone, and now his phone had become a pile of scrap metal and was thrown in a corner. Of course, it was Xan Qin who had been paying attention to them. Exposing scandals, no matter how real their words were, without pictures or footage, they definitely couldn't compete with the professional 8 weekly magazines. It was not worth it to make enemies with them. After 2 consecutive incidents today, the ordinary reporters also understood Qin Guang's style of doing things. They really didn't want to offend him too much. If he wanted money more than his life, Zhuo Wei was enough. They were the legitimate media, so they didn't want to risk their lives. It was not worth it. That. President Qin, you beat up Zhuo Wei, his son, and his men today. With 8 weekly magazines' usual style of doing things, there might be some trouble. A reporter who was very knowledgeable reminded him. Qin Guang nodded at him. Thank you for your reminder, but it's fine. The entertainment industry needs a clear stream like us. We can't bow down to evil forces. The people from Tangjia Foundation couldn't take it anymore. How could someone be so thick-skinned and praise himself as a clear stream? Furthermore, no matter how they looked at it today, they felt that he was the evil one. That's right, that's right. Mr. Qin is upright and plain-spoken, and he sticks to his principles. If Zhuo Wei and his 8 weekly magazines really make up stories about you, I'll be the first to object. This reporter was obviously determined to rely on Qin Guang. He thumped his chest to express his stance. If he won the bet and Qin Guang withstood the pressure from Zhuo Wei and 8 weekly magazines, he could rely on the relationship he had built up today to easily interview people related to Qin Guang Talent Management and Qin Guang. However, not everyone was optimistic about Qin Guang and his Qin Guang Talent Management. Some of the people in the industry were quite unhappy. You're the only one who jumped out to take sides. Aren't you making it difficult for us? Thank you for your kindness, but it's fine. I'm not afraid of slanderous accusations. Let him say whatever he wants. All right, today's press conference will end here. Everyone please go back. Qin Guang immediately asked the guest to leave. He also knew that even if that fellow was patting his chest earlier, it would already be benevolent of him if he didn't smear his name in the news. Why would he help him go against 8 weekly? What a joke. No matter what, I really beat someone up today and I even broke his hand. On the other side, Zhuo Wei and his men ran out of the hotel. They sat in the minibus and looked at each other. Boss, what should we do now? One of his men asked anxiously. Thinking of the scene where Gangxi's hand had been forcibly broken, they were really quite scared. F***CK, I can't let it go like this. I, Zhuo Wei, have never suffered such a big loss. It's my miscalculation. I didn't expect him to be so hateful. I didn't prepare well enough before rushing over. Fortunately, I got something useful. Zhuo Wei also touched his neck, which was a little blue. Just now, Qin Guang's hand had strangled his neck too hard. Boss, I want to go to the hospital. Gangxi said helplessly. His bone had been forcibly broken. Although the pain had been relieved, it was not much better. He was still sweating profusely. Go to the hospital? Wait for a few minutes. Director Xia of Jiangyuan District will be here soon. Old Xia is my acquaintance. It's better for you to be here. It will be convenient to file a case. This time, if we don't bite a piece of his flesh, my name is not Zhuo Wei. Boss, but my hand hurts. I'm afraid there will be sequelae if we delay for a long time. Gangxi, you have worked hard this time. After this, I will give you a bonus. 200,000 yuan. How about it? When he heard that there was a 200,000 yuan bonus, Gangxi gritted his teeth and decided to hold on. Okay. Thank you, boss. Zhuo Wei's plan was not a problem. With Gangxi's injury and his relationship with old Xia of Jiangyuan District, he did not need to say anything. He would first file a case and let Qin Guang know how powerful he was. What era was this? Did he really think that he could do whatever he wanted just because he had a big fist? Even celebrities had to follow the basic rules, okay? After waiting for a while, he saw other colleagues coming down from upstairs and leaving. Zhuo Wei's heart gradually became anxious. Obviously, the press conference was completely over. He looked at his watch and muttered, Old Xia should be here soon. We can't let Qin Guang escape, right? Just as they were talking, 3 police cars arrived with their sirens blaring. Zhuo Wei was overjoyed and quickly got out of the car to greet them. Old Xia, why are you so late? Come with me. This is Gangxi, the victim. Look at his broken hand. He is so vicious. Jiangyuan District Branch Chief Xia Yingjie looked at Zhuo Wei angrily. Save it. Do you think I don't know what you have been doing all day? Let me tell you, let's do business according to the rules. The situation is as it should be. Recently, the limelight has been tight, so don't expect me to do too much for you. Zhuo Wei patted Xia Yingjie's shoulder warmly. Of course, I understand. I won't make things difficult for you. He winked at Xia Yingjie, and both of them had a tacit understanding. Xia Yingjie was personally leading the team to handle a small case like Zhuo Wei's. How could he not get any benefits? Xia Yingjie was here to help him bluff others. This was not the first time they had done something like this. Don't pretend to be close to me. Xia Yingjie patted Zhuo Wei's hand off his shoulder. This is a serious case. By the way, your bodyguard's injury is quite serious. How did that person beat him? Who is it? Why is he so ruthless? Zhuo Wei was leading the way in front. He turned back and said, You will see it soon. It is not a big shot. He is just a small celebrity. Celebrity? He is so good at fighting? While Xia Yingjie was talking, Qin Guang and Tang Ying had already come down from the elevator. Behind them was Yu Hong, whose head was bandaged. The bleeding on Yu Hong's head had already stopped. Tang Ying's suturing skills were top-notch, and there seemed to be no more problems. Zhuo Wei pointed from afar and said proudly, There, look. That's him, Qin Guang. Xia Yingjie was stunned for 2 seconds, then he turned around and left. In his heart, he was already cursing Zhuo Wei's 8 generations of ancestors. How unlucky am I to have such an unlucky pig-like teammate like you? You can't cheat people like this. If you had said it was Qin Guang, I would not have come even if you beat me to death. That's right, Xia Yingjie, the chief of the Jiangyuan District Branch, had interacted with Qin Guang long ago and had a deep impression of him. Qin Guang had been brought to the Jiangyuan District Branch once for the incident between Su Lijing and Wang Ren. At that time, Qin Guang was charged with 2 major crimes: illegal operation of a taxi booking online and illegal modification of a vehicle. It sounded like a bluff, but it was actually Su Lijing's doing. However, when Wu Shan and Secretary Ma came to pick him up together, Xia Yingjie was scared out of his wits. When he saw that the situation wasn't looking good, he quickly changed sides and barely escaped. It's been so long and it wasn't easy for me to earn back my performance. Now you're pulling me in front of him again and you want me to file a case for him? I'll give you a face. Chapter 611. Zhuo Wei didn't know how powerful Xia Yingjie was, but Xia Yingjie was well aware of it. No matter how much Zhuo Wei wanted to cause trouble, this matter had nothing to do with him. Someone who could make Secretary Ma and Wu Shan join hands to protect him, even if he had 10 heads, he wouldn't want to provoke him again. Go, go, go. Xia Yingjie took the lead and ran as fast as he could. He desperately waved his hand to signal the people behind him to move faster. The people he brought along were also knowledgeable. Many of them were present last time and knew how powerful Qin Guang was. Needless to say, they couldn't wait to run faster. They hated the fact that they couldn't use a city return scroll on the spot in real life. Zhuo Wei didn't understand what was going on. He was pointing at Qin Guang, planning to bring Xia Yingjie to arrest him. Old Xia, hurry up, they're coming. Old Xia? Where are you, old Xia? Zhuo Wei turned his head and realized that there was no one around him. When he turned back, he realized that Xia Yingjie and the others had already run more than 10 meters away. Zhuo Wei had no idea what was going on. He turned around and chased after Xia Yingjie. Old Xia, what are you doing? Come back. I'm going back to your mother. Xia Yingjie finally stopped sprinting. Instead, he simply lifted his legs and sprinted. Get lost. I don't know you. Idiot. Don't get in the way of official business. We're on patrol. Xia Yingjie ran while panting. He turned his head and said to the people around him, Shaoli, remember to write a report when you get back. Today, I'll personally lead the patrol team to strengthen the public security in the area. Shaoli, who specialized in writing in the police station, had a poor physique. He was panting heavily. All right, Chief Xia. Let's run and patrol on such a hot day. It'll definitely be a good story if it's published. That's for sure. Xia Yingjie ran even faster. He thought to himself, the last time I ran this fast was when I was the leader of the key case investigation unit more than 10 years ago, right? Sure enough, people were forced to be like this. If he hadn't made this trip today, he wouldn't have known that his heart was still young. How could the big-bellied Zhuo Wei catch up to Xia Yingjie's group? He could only watch helplessly as the reinforcements he had painstakingly gathered disappeared without a trace. His mind was in a complete mess. Zhuo Wei stood in the hotel parking lot, panting, holding his minibus. He tried to call Xia Yingjie, but the voice on the other side was also out of breath. Let me tell you, surname Zhua, I can't take care of this mess of yours. Don't King come looking for me again. What happened, Shirlai? Wasn't Qin Guang just a small-time celebrity? I know he won a case before, but that's because Su Lijing wasn't clean, right? Our case is different. Even if Qin Guang has some background, doesn't he still have to follow the law? Don't talk to me about the law. All right, that's all I have to say. If you want to listen, then listen. If you don't, then forget it. We've been in the Jianghu for a long time. Farewell. After that, Xia Yingjie hung up. Zhuo Wei called again, and sure enough, he had been blacklisted. Boss, what should we do now? Boss, my hand hurts. It's almost useless. I want to go to the hospital. Gangzi was still howling. Zhuo Wei threw his phone fiercely. *CK. I don't believe it. Should we still call the police? No, send Gangzi to the hospital first. I have to think about this at length. The more daring a person is, the more productive he will be. I don't believe that Qin Guang has connections with the heavens. We'll talk about it later. Forget it, let's go back tonight and see how the situation goes. If there's really someone with connections with the heavens, we'll stop. If there's no movement, we'll go all out. Zhuo Wei was also determined. Jin Shiyue should know that we've caused such a ruckus. If there's any movement, it can only be the heavenly Jin Shiyue. If there's no movement, it means that the family isn't satisfied with Qin Guang as Jin Shiyue's boyfriend. What we're doing might even go along with their wishes. I, Zhuo Wei, have lived my entire life in fear. I'm betting on this. If I win, I'll be successful and famous. If I lose, I'll suffer a crushing defeat. I'm China's #1 paparazzi, Pui, China's #1 entertainment reporter. No one in the entertainment industry dares to treat me like this. I can't take this lying down. Standing in front of the elevator on the 15th floor of the newly constructed Lida Tower in the heart of Wujing CBD, Tang Ying was still a little worried as she asked Qin Guang, "Are you sure we don't need to worry about Zhuo Wei? I just asked a good friend of mine about him. They all said that he's very difficult to deal with. If he sets his sights on you, he won't let it go easily." Qin Guang curled his lips nonchalantly. It's fine. Good words mean fame, bad words mean fame too. If he wants to stir up trouble, I'll just treat it as him helping me create hype. But it's not a good thing he's creating hype, right? What if he really sends people to tail you every day? It'll be quite a headache, won't it? You're not someone to be trifled with. Wu Tong told me before that she caught you and your female classmate at a hotel getting a room together. Tang Ying was very knowledgeable. Qin Guang hurriedly cleared himself. There's nothing going on between me and Sun Xiaoxuan. It was a special situation that day. There's nothing strange going on. I'm not going to take the blame for this. Forget it. Anyway, it's impossible for a company as big as ours to just let a paparazzi smear our reputation. It's completely justified. If he really dares to say something groundless to smear your reputation, we won't just sit and wait for death. See if you're satisfied with the office location. They're almost ready to sign the contract. Originally, I didn't want such a large space, but Xiao Kai insisted on making the office a little bigger to make it look more imposing. Tang Ying and Qin Guang followed the marketing manager sent by the Tang Jie Foundation. Actually, this was supposed to be the administrative department's Yu Hong's job, but he had already gone home to rest. Qin Guang walked in and looked left and right. His nose was filled with the smell of the newly renovated office. The spacious hall had already been set up with rows of desks and cubicles. The total area of the office was about 400 square meters. It looked imposing and grand. Although it wasn't as impressive as when Qin Guang went to the Tianjin Energy headquarters in Yanjing, for a startup company, this should be impressive enough. Actually, the office location should have been Qin Guang's responsibility, but Tang Xiaokai considered that the old men in Yanjing were urging him to do it quickly. The sooner the better. He even wanted Qin Guang to sit in the office the next day and instruct dozens of people to squander. No, work hard. Therefore, when Tang Xiaokai had decided on this matter yesterday, he had contacted the owner of the Li De building through his friend. The newly built Li De building had already been rented out more than 90% of the time. The only office space left was the 15th floor. Originally, this entire floor was reserved for Tang Xiaokai's friend, but after some discussion the owner gave him face and rented about 1/5 of the floor to the newly established Tianguang brokerage. As for the remaining 1,600 square meters of office space on this floor, they would probably have to split it up and continue to rent it out. Just for this matter, Tang Xiaokai had done a huge favor by snatching his friend's newly renovated office space and bringing a lot of trouble to the owner of the Li De building. The other party also saw that Tang Xiaokai was doing well in the overseas investment industry and hoped that they could work together in the future. That was why they gave him face. On the other side, Qin Guang didn't reply to Tang Ying. Instead, he continued walking in. The 400 square meter office hall sounded big, but in fact it didn't take long to reach the end. He pushed open the chairman's office door and walked on the wooden floorboards. He stood in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling glass and looked down. Below him was the spacious 8-lane Wujing South Road. Cars came and went, and there was an endless stream of people by the roadside. How is it? Are you satisfied with the place? Tang Ying's heart ached for the money, but she also felt sorry for her brother. You don't know how many favors Xiao Kai has done for this place. Originally, his buddy rented this entire floor, but now that we've split it up, his buddy can't use this place anymore. The problem is that the owner of the Li De building has to rent out the other parts of this floor. I don't know how Xiao Kai negotiated with them, but it's quite troublesome. We have to do a good job. It's 130 million. The Tang Jie Fund doesn't just belong to the Tang family. We have to answer to the other shareholders. Qin Guang took a deep breath, turned around and grabbed her shoulders with both hands. That's right. Sister Tang Ying, let's do a big job. Tang Ying was startled by his sudden passion, and her face turned red. What? Here. That's not quite. All right. There are still a lot of people outside. Qin Guang was speechless. Looking at her red face, he felt that there was something wrong with her reaction. It was completely different from what he had expected. Wait a minute. From what she said, it seemed like she had gotten the wrong idea. What she was implying was that they could just change the place. Onji, I really misjudged you. I didn't expect you to be like this, Sister Tang Ying. Very good, I like it very much, but now is not the time. Regarding this office, Qin Guang only had 3 words to describe it. Dissatisfied. Extremely dissatisfied. There was no other reason other than 3 words. It was too small. Whether it was the office hall outside or the chairman's office he was in, or the general manager's office next door, or the deputy general manager's office, they were all too small. Not to mention the employees who were doing their jobs, he had to sneak in close to 40 employees from the Guangdong General Headquarters without anyone noticing. How could a mere 400 square meters of area be enough? The hall could at most fit 80 to 90 tables, and he would have to use his head without anyone noticing. Therefore this office hall was really too small. To hide 40 people, he would have to increase the size of the entire company to more than 150 people, right? What, a startup company that hasn't even understood the business needs to hire so many people? Isn't that courting death? Going bankrupt at any moment? Stop joking. The old man had 20 million US dollars in his pocket, which was 130 million waiting to be spent. Cost control? Sorry, the wind is too strong, I can't hear you clearly. Also, what is this chairman's office? A 5x5 glass cubicle and it's done? It doesn't even have a bedroom, a massage chair, or an indoor golf course. How can I face myself? Who wants an unlucky glass cubicle? The employees outside can look up and see what I'm doing inside. How am I going to fight in my office? How am I going to carry out my work? How am I going to realize the value of my life? This kind of office conditions is completely inconsistent with the prodigal style that the elders have set for me. The old man's office must be at least 100 square meters. It must be an office with echoes when you sing outside. It must be soundproof, and the people outside won't be able to see what I'm doing inside. My desk must be a large curved round gold-rimmed Jinan wood. After carefully considering the price of the gold-rimmed Jinan wood, Qin Guang silently changed the material of the desk to mahogany. Such a large piece of gold-rimmed Jinan wood could probably be used to make a car full of beads. In addition, the lounge behind him must also be 50 square meters. It must have a super large soft bed that can lie 7 or 8 people at the same time. If necessary, it must have an electric massage function. As for the waterbed, forget it, that's too wretched. Then he would hire 17 or 18 young and beautiful secretaries. From then on, the secretaries would do all the work. Qin Guang's mind had completely gone astray. He couldn't help but show a very lascivious smile on his face, which scared Tang Ying, who was being held by his hands on her shoulders. Hey, what are you thinking in your head, you silly guy? Tang Ying blushed. She raised her hand and ruthlessly flicked his head. Qin Guang came back to his senses from the pain. He hurriedly let go of his hand and held his head. I was just blinded by the passion of entrepreneurship. That's not what I meant. Tang Ying glared at him. The blush on her face showed no signs of subsiding. Don't pretend in front of me. Do you think I don't know you? I can even clearly remember how many folds there are on your bad guy. Touch your collar. It's all wet from your saliva. I really don't know what's going on in your head. Count it as my bad luck to meet you. Come with me. Tang Ying came up and pulled on Qin Guang's sleeve. Qin Guang was confused. Where to? Anyway, just to take a look at the office. Now let's find a place with no one around. I'm telling you, I'll only use my hands. You can't tell Lady Tong. Otherwise, don't even think about getting a chance in the future. On the other hand, Tang Ying was open-minded. In the past, she treated Qin Guang as a patient with a weak kidney, and it wasn't the first or second time that she fell into his trap. Although she knew that he wasn't sick, she didn't feel any obstruction in her heart. Thinking back to when she was in school, she and Wu Tong would sneak around at home and watch movies by themselves. Their faces would turn red and their hearts would race. She was actually a little excited. Tang Ying thought to herself, don't laugh at me. I've been single for more than 20 years. Isn't it tough for a beautiful lady like me? The most annoying thing was that based on the current situation, she probably wouldn't be able to get married for the next 8 to 10 years. Her days were long. So what if she had a handsome younger brother to take advantage of him? Sistering, we can't leave yet. Qin Guang's heart ached. He didn't expect Tang Ying to be so bold. But now that there was an important matter at the office, he couldn't delay it. If he didn't change his mind, he would have to sign the contract. What? Are you sick of it? Tang Ying stared at him. Qin Guang quickly shook his head and said loudly, no, absolutely not. It's just that this office won't do. Let's go find Li Da's boss. I want to rent the entire floor. What? Are you crazy? Tang Ying was shocked. Do you know how much it costs a year to rent an entire floor? I just did the math. It's 4 million. What's wrong? Don't we have 130 million? Qin Guang didn't expect Tang Ying to have such a big objection. It seemed that she was quite thrifty. But we don't need such a large area. Our company only signed you. We don't have any other artists. We don't even know the direction of our business. Why do we need such a large area? Even if we have money, we can't fool around like this, right? Tang Ying didn't even accept an office of 400 square meters. It was Tang Xiaokai who insisted on it. Now, she couldn't stand Qin Guang's attitude of renting the entire floor. Their argument in the office attracted the employees of the Tang Jie Foundation. Qin Guang first looked at the managers of Tianguang Brokerage who had made reservations with blank faces. These people had obviously been abandoned by Tang Xiaokai and had come with the mentality of a lost future. Qin Guang looked at Tang Ying, who was very anxious and opposed to his squandering. He took a deep breath and his eyes lit up. It was time to show the old man's trick. He didn't need to practice it. He knew it when he was born. All these years, the immoral and incompetent old man had relied on this trick to get to where he was. Chapter 6:12. Sister Tang Ying, do you want me to make a career out of the 130 million yuan Xiao Kai gave me, or just sit and eat it away? Qin Guang took a deep breath and said softly, but his tone was very firm. Tang Ying said without hesitation, this is an investment, of course it has to be profitable. You can't eat away that much money in your lifetime. Qin Guang smiled, yes, although I don't know Xiao Kai's character very well, I know he's a famous investment guru in Europe and America. Although not every investment can make a big profit, I believe that since he chose to bet so much money on me, and my shares are as high as 50%, it's basically equivalent to him giving me 10 million US dollars. No matter what he says, I believe that as a businessman, no matter what he says, it's all about making money. It was rare for Tang Ying to see Qin Guang so serious, and she was stunned for a moment. Her mind no longer thought about Qin Guang renting the whole floor. She herself did not know much about business. Although she was a genius in the medical field, she specialized in different fields. When it came to investment management and even business, Tang Ying was a complete layman. This time she had forced herself to do it and forced herself to do it. Now, after being fooled by Qin Guang, Tang Ying suddenly saw the light. Yes, it was her first impression. With my brother's intelligence, why would he do something like that just for my sake? And this is not a small amount. He must have his own considerations, otherwise he wouldn't be able to convince himself and the other investors. Could it be that I'm too conservative and underestimated the power of the internet celebrity economy? Is Qin Guang really worth that much money? With his current fame, could he really make a name for himself on the platform of Qingguang Brokerage, which Xiao Kai had built for him with 130 million yuan? Once Tang Ying began to doubt herself, Qin Guang's next trick would be easy. Striking while the iron was hot, Qin Guang immediately added, yes, Sister Tang Ying, it's just as you imagined. The me today is no longer the me of the past. The person standing in front of you right now is the super internet celebrity who is almost at the top of the domestic internet celebrity circle, Brother Almighty. I have more than 13 million fans on Weibo, and any random post on Weibo would get more than 100,000 shares and comments. I've reached 3 million subscribers on Bamboo Live, and the number of online viewers will quickly exceed 1 million at any time. I know it's pretty impressive, but I don't think it's worth much. Don't some celebrities have tens of millions of fans? Tang Ying was still confused. Qin Guang counted with his fingers. Let me put it this way, I don't seem to have as many fans as other celebrities, but you have to know that I've never made a zombie fan before. All of my fans have slowly grown through my activities. They're real people, and it's the same for the subscribers in my live broadcast room. Take our Dachuan province's Dachuan satellite TV station as an example. They usually broadcast a trump card program with high ratings, and if they can achieve a rating of 2.0%, they'd be thanking the gods. What does a rating of 2.0% mean? At most, it's just a few million viewers. But my live broadcast room has more than 1 million viewers when it starts broadcasting. If I post something on Weibo, even if it's I ate 3 buns this morning, at least millions of people will see these 3 buns when they're scrolling through Weibo. In addition, the loyalty of my audience and fans is far higher than that of a TV station like Dachuan Satellite TV. The influence of my brother All-Rounder's identity as an internet celebrity is actually not that far off from a provincial TV station. Now, do you still think that the internet celebrity economy is really a bubble? Tang Ying felt that there was something wrong with what he said, but she couldn't put her finger on it. But, no buts. Currently, the entire world of live broadcasting and internet celebrities may be a little impetuous, or maybe there's a lot of hype involved, but I'm different. First of all of my data is real. Second, my fans aren't created by hype, but by my own ability. I've attracted them one by one. Other people may be bubbles that burst with a poke, but I'm an internet celebrity, I really can't burst it. In other words, you're really worth 130 million? If you really want to compare yourself to a TV station. Tang Ying was completely shaken. Qin Guang nodded heavily. Of course. Let me tell you one more thing. You know about the competition I organized 2 days ago, right? I know. Do you know how many viewers there are in the finals? How many? The peak is 25 million and the average is 23 million. That's equivalent to 1/30th of the Olympic Games, 1/20th of the World Cup, 7/8 of the European Championship, and 3/4 of the Champions League. Take the World Cup for example, just the broadcasting fees alone can reach $1 or $2 billion, and that doesn't include advertising revenue. Even if the audience's loyalty for this competition isn't as high as the World Cup, if we convert the revenue from US dollars to RMB, it wouldn't be too much to earn 100 million after the competition, right? Tang Ying counted on her fingers. It really isn't too much. Qin Guang's expression turned serious. Then do you know how much I've earned this time? The entire competition was organized in a hurry, and the promotions, advertisements, and whatnot weren't done properly. The broadcasting authorization was even more arbitrary, and everything was decided on a whim. But I still earned this much, 48 million renminbi. Tang Ying's eyes widened. She had known Qin Guang for so long, but this was the first time she had heard him talk so eloquently about business. In the past he didn't like to brag, and Tang Ying had always treated him like a child. However, after hearing his simple calculation, Tang Ying felt that Xiao Kai had not wasted his money by signing him to Qingguang brokerage at the price of 20 million US dollars. Instead he had gotten a great deal. So, don't worry about our company not being able to make it big. It's just that I haven't taken on many advertisements. If we really want to take on a large number of advertisements, I'll learn from that Xue Ziqian. Yes, that's him. I'll learn from him and write jokes and advertise on Weibo every day. Our company won't suffer any losses. So, not only will Qingguang brokerage not collapse, but it will also grow bigger and bigger. We have to look to the future, and this Lida building is located in the center of the city. It's a good location. Today we'll save 2 to 3 million a year and only rent 400 square meters. In 2 years when the company grows bigger and bigger, there won't be enough space. We'll either have to go through a lot of trouble to move, or we'll have to think of ways to wrangle with those companies renting the same floor as us. Isn't that troublesome? Moreover, the boss of Lida building is giving us face, so we might as well take the entire floor. Isn't this saving him some trouble? He won't have to look for a new place to rent. Tang Ying was completely convinced by Qin Guang. What you said makes sense. Needless to say, Qin Guang's rambling not only attracted Tang Ying, but also the other managers of Qingguang brokerage who had been waiting at the door were all fired up. Looking at the fanatical and excited eyes of these people, Qin Guang also felt a sense of accomplishment. The old man's divine art of deception had not regressed at all. He was thankful for the years he spent as a sage in the Sea of Transient. Actually, the throne challenge was not that easy. It was too much of a coincidence that it became popular. If he were to do it all over again, he might not have the confidence to make it to such a big scale. Other than that, he was able to earn 48 million because little Tsong was generous. Not only did he not earn a single cent, but he also paid 20 million to Qin Guang. If he were to get a less generous partner, Qin Guang would immediately lose 20 million of his 48 million, and then split it in half, leaving him with only a little more than 10 million. Then let's go find the boss of Lida building now and settle the matter quickly. Tang Ying immediately clapped her hands and made up her mind. Actually, she did not want to work here anymore. She kind of wanted to drop everything here and go back to the hospital in peace. After all, she was now an official department head and the person in charge of the inpatient department's emergency department. She had only taken a day off today, but the hospital had already piled up a lot of work. She felt that Qin Guang was simply a genius. He did not need her to manage him at all. Her presence here was completely counterproductive. But in the end, she still could not bear to completely drop everything. Wu Tong's request became her reason to convince herself. I have to help Lady Tong keep an eye on him. This guy was so wretched when he was letting his imagination run wild just now. If I really don't do anything with his self-restraint, he will definitely have dozens of beauties displayed in the company. That's right, keeping an eye on him is my Tang Ying's mission. In less than half an hour, the 5-year contract was signed and a whole year's worth of rent was paid. The 15th floor of the Lida building, located in the second section of Rennan Road, belonged to Qingguang brokerage. There was still work to be done today. The company still had to hire people and the office had to be rearranged. But Tang Ying did not care about these things. She rushed back to the hospital happily. On the way she called Tang Xiaokai. Across the ocean, Tang Xiaokai heard Tang Ying repeat the words that Qin Guang had just tricked her with a smile. Little brother, let me tell you, Qin Guang really can't be judged by his appearance, and the sea can't be measured with a pail. I admit that I have underestimated him before. I think we have made a big profit this time. Yes, sister, you have worked hard. At this time it was past 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Wujing. Tang Xiaokai was in the United States at 2 o'clock in the morning. He was sleeping soundly when he called Tang Ying. His whole body was drowsy, but he did not dare to lose his temper with Tang Ying. He could only deal with it bitterly. If it was someone else calling him at this time, he would have already started scolding. We have rented the entire floor of Lida building. There are no other floors. Otherwise, I would have taken the entire 14th to 46th floor. Ha! Tang Xiaokai's drowsiness was reduced by half. Also, I feel that you only invested $20 million for 50% of the shares. Isn't it too disadvantageous for him? Think about it, he alone is worth Dachuan Satellite TV. Why don't you add another $20 million? Ha! Tang Xiaokai was completely awake. Chapter 613. Tang Xiaokai's hand was trembling as he held onto his phone. Sis, are you really going there to look at our assets and not to help Qingguang squander? You've been tricked by him. You've been tricked by him. Why didn't I realize in the past that the honest and kind bro Qingguang is actually so black-bellied deep down? Sis, that's not how things are done. He's quite famous now and his Weibo is quite popular too. But how can he be compared to a satellite TV station? The content production is on a completely different level, alright? Furthermore, other TV stations can use the SARFT network to broadcast their programs 24/7. How many advertisements can they broadcast every day? How many programs can they get? How many staff members do they have? How much equipment and fixed assets do they have? Although he says they have the same influence, the two are on a completely different level, alright? Most importantly, this is a task given to him by the higher-ups. To put it bluntly, his money is really for Qingguang to squander. Do you really think he can make a name for himself? Just based on the phone call he tricked you into today, I think Qingguang manager will be dead within half a year. Tang Xiaokai is not like Tang Ying. The two of them are polar opposites. He is not a hothead in the business world. All these years, Tang Xiaokai has been involved in investments. What industry has he not been involved in? What industry has he not been familiar with? There are internet celebrities in China, and there are also internet celebrities in the US. His heart was as clear as snow, but he couldn't tell Tang Ying about this kind of worldly knowledge because it would involve another layer of confidential information. He could only laugh it off. Oh, don't worry. If it really produces some results, I'll just increase my investment. But you can't dilute his shares. I know that. Sis, whose side are you on? Are you really my sister? Am I a gift from mom and dad for topping up their phones? Are you the only biological son? Tang Xiaokai is furious. Tang Ying also knew that she had gone overboard by siding with an outsider, so she chuckled. I'm just kidding. Anyway, listen carefully. You better open your eyes and see how your sister, your vice president, is doing. I can set up a media conglomerate for you at any time. I'll crush that stupid angel investor of yours. Alright, you better hurry to the hospital. Be careful on the road. Tang Xiaokai yawned. After the siblings hang up, Tang Xiaokai got up and gulped down 2 glasses of water before he calmed down. He touched his chest, feeling a throbbing pain. On the other hand, Qingguang originally intended to recruit a large number of people today. But in the end, Yu Hong lost too much blood and fell asleep at home. On the other hand, the people from Beijing only arrived at night. Thus, Qingguang slapped his thigh and decided not to recruit anyone today. Decorate the entire floor, all the offices, everything that needs to be decorated. I don't want this chairman's office. Change it to this one. Do you see it? I want this big office with 3 entrances and 3 exits. Get me a renovation company. I want European style, no Chinese style. Get me a screen here and a portrait of a lady bathing here. All the furniture in the chairman's office. Get me mahogany. Make it as grand as possible. Partition my resting room. I want a big bathroom. Get me a bathtub too. Put a statue of Yu Lian beside the bathtub. That's right. His penis must be able to release water. I don't want plaster. I want marble. The bed must be big, soft, and made of real leather. Axian Qin, why are you looking at me like that? I have a reason for doing this. The most important thing in our company is my creativity. How does my creativity come about? It must be in the most comfortable environment. Only then can I be inspired. Only then can I come up with better ideas. Only then can I come up with better performances that can attract the fans. This is not called squandering. This is called investment. Do you understand? Investing in one's artistic selves and improving one's creativity is the most valuable investment. In the past, Qingguang had always looked down on those nouveau riche. He felt that they were very old-fashioned and vulgar. Only today did he understand why he looked down on others. It was because he was jealous. He was jealous that others could spend money like that. That was why he believed in the theory of hard work and plain living. When he had the opportunity to spend other people's money so lavishly, he realized how scary a person's potential was. The old man was afraid of himself when he started squandering. He even thought that if he took a picture of himself now, he could seamlessly blend it into the movie Big Shot. There was only one principle when it came to spending money. Don't ask for the best, just ask for the most expensive. He was stingy when it came to things that made him unhappy. For example, even if Zhuo Wei risked his life, he wouldn't be able to get a single cent from him. But when it came to things that made him want to spend money, he would not be stingy. After all, it was not his own money. Just as Chen Guang was busy squandering in another office building in Wujing, there was also a large group of people revolving around him. Zhuo Wei, who was famous in Huaxia's gossip circle, was instructing his subordinates to write jokes, organize videos, and organize screenshots. He just had to wait for a few more hours. Once the news from Yanjing came back, Zhuo Wei would risk his life and have a life-and-death struggle with Chen Guang, who had just established Tianguang Agency. In the Li De gang, Chen Guang was so busy that he had dinner with the 7 or 8 employees in the company. Only then did he drive back to Wenxing town leisurely. I feel like I've had a very fulfilling day, Chen Guang said to Xan Qin as he whistled. His left and right hand were playing a song on the car's stereo. Xan Qin crossed her arms. Her current identity was Chen Guang's personal assistant. She didn't help much today. After the press conference, she sat in a corner and played with her phone. There's a car following us. Suddenly Xan Qin said. Chen Guang glanced at the car from the corner of his eye. Indeed, he saw a Golf GTI following them sneakily in the rearview mirror. After waiting for another 7 or 8 minutes, the Golf was still following them. It was obvious that the paparazzi were not running away. Don't follow too closely. If he discovers us, we'll be in trouble. He and his bodyguards are very good. Brother, I have to follow him closely. I've seen his Weibo before. This guy is a god of racing, a god. If he gets excited and wants to step on the accelerator, we'll have to eat the dust. Bullsh *T. How can he run with a broken Passat? Yours is a 2.0 TGDI. His is a business sedan. You two are not on the same level. That's true. While the two people in the Golf GTI were chatting, Chen Guang had already stepped on the accelerator. About 17 or 18 seconds later, the two people in the GTI completely lost sight of Chen Guang. After turning a corner, there was another fork in front of them. They had no idea where Chen Guang had gone. His Passat is a little fast. It is a little fast. What if we lose him now? I don't know. Go back and ask the boss. In the phaeton, Chen Guang curled his lips in disdain. Are you kidding me? 2 small fries want to follow my car? Looking at his proud look, Xan Qin couldn't help but say, about 11 or 12 years ago, there was a star who was also followed by paparazzi. He wanted to race away, but he died in an accident. There was such a thing? Well, when you were messing around there today, I saw it on the internet. It seemed to be a very famous female singer. I also found something interesting. What? Can we finish talking in one breath? Can we not take so much time? The reporter who chased after the car was Zhuo Wei, who you met today. However, he hadn't started a weekly magazine back then. He was just a slightly famous freelance reporter or paparazzi. So you mean that nothing happened to Zhuo Wei after the female singer died? Instead, he became famous? Then his business got bigger and bigger. Now he even started a magazine? Chen Guang's eyes widened in disbelief. Xan Qin nodded. You're right. Chen Guang was silent for a long time before saying, after all, legally speaking, he doesn't seem to have any responsibility. So even if he's being scolded by thousands of people, it's useless. The more people scold him, the more famous he becomes. In the past, I also thought that martial artists like Poison Sect and Dark Sect were the most despicable. They were cold-blooded and heartless. But now it seems like ordinary people aren't much better. The difference between the two is that martial artists are more direct. They'll draw their swords at the slightest disagreement. Zhuo Wei, on the other hand, became even more vicious after he made a fortune from the dead, Xan Qin said. Chen Guang really did not expect Xan Qin, a little girl who usually looked like a little girl, to say something like that. Why don't I go and kill him? My hands are getting itchy, Xan Qin suddenly said. Chen Guang stepped on the brakes and stopped by the roadside. He turned to look at her. Are you serious? Xan Qin nodded. I'm serious. But I don't agree. Why? The reason why we want to replace the Special Affairs Bureau with our Guangdong General Bureau, and the reason why I want to deal with Poison Sect and Dark Sect with Wenwen, is because I'm sick of the situation where martial artists are above ordinary people. So, we can't become like that. Xan Qin tilted her head and looked at Chen Guang, her big eyes sparkling. Chen Guang patted her head. That's right, especially you because you're my deputy director. Even if someone wants to kill Zhuo Wei, only I can do it. Do you understand? Xianqin vaguely understood, but she did not really understand it. However, she was willing to listen to what Qin Guang had to say. After returning home, Qin Guang scrolled through Weibo in boredom. He first posted the official press release sent by Qingguang Agency staff and used his Weibo account to announce the establishment of his company. After that, he interacted with his fans in the comments section and chatted about random things. The fans in the comments section had their own opinions on the establishment of his company. There were two sides to their views. Some people were cheering and saying that Brother All-Rounder had finally made it to the next level. From an unorthodox internet celebrity who fought alone, he now had a team of his own. In the future, he would definitely be able to produce better videos or achieve better results. However, there were also some fans or haters who pretended to be fans. They criticized Brother All-Rounder on Weibo, saying that he was no longer pure and had become a cliché. He only thought about making money when he started a company. If it were in the past, Qin Guang would definitely have a good argument with these haters. However, now that he had experienced a lot, he was used to it. There were too many comments on Weibo and he really could not manage them all. As long as the old man was happy, it was fine. Of course, he only replied to the real fans' comments. If they were really bad, he would directly and permanently ban them. Suddenly, at around 9 o'clock at night, a bunch of new comments appeared. Qin Guang's pupils shrank. Zhuo Wei really could not hold it in. Chapter 6:14. Expose the true face of the almighty Superman Qin Guang. Discuss how a vulgar, violent, uncultured, and lacking in public morality quickly became popular on the internet. Behind the impetuous economy of the internet celebrity hides a team of hype without a bottom line. Interview Qin Guang's classmates at Gokyo University. What kind of person is Qin Guang? Skipping classes, fighting, hitting classmates, hitting teachers, and playing with girls' feelings. This kind of person is your almighty brother. Rich second-generation Qin Guang's so-called grassroots counterattack road. Local tycoons do black-hearted business, causing more than 100 people to suffer food poisoning. Now he is still at large. Detailed analysis of all the fake recordings of the almighty Superman so far. Xiangjiang's racing god is someone else, not Qin Guang himself. Deceived Jin Shirui and Qin Guang put on a bad show. Beijing's left and right-hand concert. Qin Guang's piano performance was fully revealed. Played the recording and pretended to play it himself. Shameless to the extreme. A new skill after lip-syncing, fake bullet. Bribed World Championship referee, ugly darts show. Inside the Throne Challenge, professional players tell you how Qin Guang makes people become his actors. How low can a person go in order to be famous? This series of comments appeared almost at the same time, and all of them were posted by different IDs. In just a few seconds, they dominated Qin Guang's entire comment section, and there was no time to delete or ban them. Behind every comment, there was a link to Zhuo Wei's carefully crafted article. On the other side, Xianqin, who was fiddling with her laptop, was so angry that she slammed the table. Nonsense. These bastards. Qin Guang turned his head and found that she was browsing the portal website. In just a short while, the same news appeared on many portal websites. Although it was not in bold and red headlines, the negative reports that appeared swept the front page of the portal website like a tsunami. It was impossible not to see it. The scene suddenly became a little ridiculous. The headline in bold and red was the announcement of the establishment of Qingguang Agency. Inside was the company's vision carefully crafted by the company's clerk. In the future they would definitely contribute better content and IP to everyone. But under the headlines were a bunch of groundless scandals. Zhuo Wei, who had dominated the gossip and Vanity Fair for more than a decade, was always aggressive when he made his move. Apart from that, on the Weibo platform he refreshed it slightly and instantly saw a lot of VIPs and well-known media reposting and commenting on these scandals. Even if he did not follow these people, it did not matter. Zhuo Wei had obviously spent money to buy topics. As long as it was reposted, it would become a trending topic and appear in the Weibo of those he did not follow. This was a sudden, organized, premeditated, and all-out attack on him. Qin Guang leaned back in his chair. This grandson is really daring. I'm going to kill them now. He's slandering you without any foundation. This is too much. Xianqin slammed the table and stood up abruptly. Qin Guang did not stop her. He just sat in his chair and stared at her. It was enough to persuade her once. If she wanted to go, it was her own decision. He could not stop her. Xianqin had always thought of herself as a strong-willed person. After all, in the Thousand Despair sect, she had always been the grand senior sister who was second only to her master. However, after looking at him for a while, she felt a little diffident and did not dare to look into his eyes. She did not know what was wrong with her. Why should she be afraid of him? He can't beat me at all. But in the end she still sat down, feeling wronged. I won't go. Don't look at me like that. I'm scared. Qin Guang walked up to her. That's right. That's a good girl. Don't worry. What's fake can't be real. His scandals may seem impressive, but they can't stand up to scrutiny. I won't just sit back and do nothing. But at this point he can do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter. Just like I said, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. The more he slanders now, the more obvious the positive effect will be when we refute his scandals one by one. If you don't slap my butt, your image will be even more impressive. Oh my, that's strange. Little Xanqin, there seems to be a magnet on your butt. My hand is being sucked in. I can't control it at all. Although he did not seem to care, it only lasted for a short while. After many people read the news, the style of the comments under Qin Guang's Weibo changed. The die-hard fans who had been following him were not so easily affected, but the average fans or those who were in between passers-by and fans were shaken. They began to post questions on Weibo, asking others if it was true. Once they started asking questions, it meant that they already believed it. There were also some haters who did not like Qin Guang to begin with. At this moment they went wild and shared all kinds of comments. The two sides were arguing fiercely under his Weibo. I didn't expect Brother All-Rounder to be such a person. Fan turned to Road. Road turned to Anti-Fan. Anti-Fan. I can't turn anymore. Anyway, I told you guys long ago that this person is unreliable. He relies on hype and women. I really don't know what you guys are thinking. How can a fan of him be as good as he makes himself out to be? Upstairs, calm down. Listen to me. Don't get agitated. Shout with me. Trash All-Rounder, give me back my goddess. Give me back my youth. Today was really a wild day. The newly established Qingguang agency had no way to fight back. It was not that they did not have the money to do these things, but they did not have the manpower. The most reliable person, Yu Hong, was still recuperating at home. However, it was estimated that he would get a call soon. But Qin Guang couldn't possibly let Yu Hong take care of this matter after losing so much blood today. After all, Zhuo Wei's little trick wasn't enough to make Qin Guang's sky collapse, so there was no need for Yu Hong to risk his life. After a while the phone calls came in one after another. First was Tang Ying. Qin Guang spent about 30 seconds to calm her down. His exact words were as follows: every single point that they defame me, I'm not afraid of the shadow. Don't panic. Wait for them to make a fuss, then we'll slowly deal with them one by one. Then Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage called together. They asked him if he wanted them to use their influence to help him clarify the matter. Qin Guang also told them not to act rashly. At this time, if the two of them clarified the matter first, it would only make them look like they were hiding something. Wu Tong did not dare to ask too much. Presumably, Qin Guang's words had already been conveyed to her through Tang Ying. His little sister, Fan Lingshan, who had not seen him for a long time, wanted to rush back from school. She was worried that the online scandals would make Qin Guang angry, so she wanted to be by his side when he was down. In the end, Qin Guang casually told his little sister not to worry and to stay at school to study. A senior student should act like a senior student. Moreover, he was restudying after throwing away his studies for a year. Even if the sky fell, he would be able to support it. Don't worry for nothing. Lu Fei also called and asked Qin Guang if he needed her to ask the public relations team of Lu Chemical for help. However, Qin Guang rejected her suggestion. This was his own matter. Lu Fei wanted to help out, but there was really no need to pull her family's company's team out. Besides, Lu Chemical was good at public relations such as pollution and not entertainment news. It didn't seem very professional. The conversation between the two was as follows. Listen to me, our Lu Chemical's public relations is really super strong. Black can also be turned into white, stinky gutters can be blown into pure water. Your little thing can be done in minutes. Don't worry, let me try first. I owe you too much and it's not easy to pay back your family. Wait, what did you just say? Stinky gutters can be blown into pure water? This kind of words in front of me, who is studying environmental protection and is determined to live a good life. Are you really a man? Bah? You can be smug. Goodbye. If you really can't handle it, remember to call me. Lu Fei slammed down the phone. When Qin Guang finally finished the phone call and settled down, it was about 10 o'clock. The quarrel under his Weibo had not stopped. The basket of scandals thrown out by Zhuo Wei and his 8 Weekly was still fermenting and continuing to erupt. Under Weibo, more and more people turned to hate, and even many fans who unfollowed him appeared. Chen Guang snorted disdainfully at those foolish people who were easily deceived. In fact, there were already technical geek fans who helped to explain and clarify on his Weibo, but under the attack of the internet water army and some real haters, these technical geek fans' defense and evidence were a little weak and powerless. No matter what they said, it would be quickly suppressed by the haters and water army. Xan Qin was more distressed than Qin Guang himself. Now her National Darts League was tied to Qin Guang, and Qin Guang's reputation was damaged, which would inevitably lead to the decline of the influence of the National Darts League. She was also anxious. With a depressed mood, Xan Qin walked to the window and looked up at the sky, feeling quite helpless. Suddenly, her eyes flashed, and then she sat back in the chair quietly, turned to Qin Guang and said, "Someone in the opposite building is taking pictures of us. It should be with a high-powered telescope." *CK Zhuo is a professional. He found our place so quickly. Qin Guang finally had a new understanding of Zhuo Wei's efficiency. Sure enough, hearing about him was not as good as meeting him in person. The title of China's #1 paparazzi was not for nothing. He's a little bold. He even took pictures of my house. Qin Guang narrowed his eyes again. Recently, he had read a lot of novels, and it was said that powerful people would squint their eyes when they were angry. He heard that there was a mysterious domineering aura. He tried it a few times today and the effect was good. "What do we do now?" Xan Qin asked. Qin Guang squeezed a smile on his face and stretched. "We've been busy all day. Let's go out for some barbecue?" Xan Qin understood and said, "I kind of want to eat meat." They changed their shoes, opened the door and went downstairs. "Brother Huang, I'm not bragging, but in this generation of Wenxingzhen, ever since Scarface and Glasses Wu fell, I, Brother Blackface, have the final say. Who is the person you guys are watching? Why are you acting so mysterious?" In the room, a burly, dark-faced man wearing a black singlet was sitting on the sofa with his legs crossed. He was happily gnawing on a chicken drumstick in his hand. This person, whom he addressed as Brother Huang, was Zhuo Wei's right-hand man. Within 8 Weekly he was known as Mad Dog Huang. Mad Dog Huang had a few strengths. He could fight, squat, slap, and run when he was discovered. If he could not run, he would turn back and fight. Ordinary bodyguards were no match for him. In recent years, Zhuo Wei rarely went out personally, and Mad Dog Huang was one of the most troublesome paparazzi in the industry. Other than Mad Dog Huang and Brother Blackface, there were another 11 or 12 people in the room. 2 of them were employees of 8 Weekly, and the remaining 9 were Wenxingzhen's local tyrants. Recently, Wenxing Town's Deputy Commissioner Wu Tong, who was especially tough, had been transferred away. The hooligans in the town had gradually emerged in the limelight again. Blackface Bro was one of the best, and he had the momentum to surpass Scarface Bro. This time, Mad Dog Huang came to secretly take pictures. He knew that Qin Guang was powerful, and to be on the safe side, he specially invited Brother Blackface over. He said he wanted to chat and reminisce, but in fact he was afraid that if something went wrong he would be more confident with more people on his side, although it might not be of much use. Chapter 6:15. Blackface, these little brothers of yours seem to be quite good at fighting. Mad Dog Huang stepped back from the binoculars. Qin Guang and Xan Qin had already left the house. He knew lip reading, and from Qin Guang's lips, he knew that he was going for a barbecue. Since Qin Guang would not be back for a while, Mad Dog Huang did not continue to watch. Brother Blackface flicked the bone in his hand, and it flew straight into the trash bin 2 meters away. He was a good citizen who cared about hygiene. Brother Huang, it's not that I'm bragging, but everyone in our group is good at fighting. With our status in town, who would dare to disrespect us? Status in the Jianghu is fought for with one's fists, not with one's mouth. That's good. As long as you can fight. When I'm done with these few days, I'll give Brother Blackface a 30,000 yuan red packet for you guys to buy cigarettes. Brother Blackface grinned. Brother Huang, you're a good friend. It's my pleasure. The 8 Weekly employee who was in charge of the internet came over. Boss, the internet here doesn't seem to be very good. The video just now won't be uploaded anytime soon. Mad Dog Huang waved his hand nonchalantly. It's fine. Let's film first. You can drive it back to the company when it's done. He sat down and fiddled with the equipment. Looking at the footage, Mad Dog Huang slapped his thigh and said, "Damn, this Qin guy is so lucky. He's surrounded by beautiful women. Let's not talk about his celebrity girlfriend. Even the vice president of Qingguang company that our boss took a picture of today is also very beautiful. That little girl is also so pink and tender. Why does she follow him all the time? It's really infuriating to compare with others. He saw Qingguang intentionally or unintentionally slapping Xan Qin's butt, and he was extremely jealous. Rich people know how to have fun. But even rich people are afraid of you. Alright, Brother Huang, what was the name of the person who filmed today? Chin. Brother Blackface grabbed another piece of fried chicken and chewed on it. Mad Dog Huang did not answer him directly. It's nothing, just a small celebrity. I'm doing some business with him. Let's not talk about him, it makes me angry. Come, let's drink. Brother Blackface saw that Mad Dog Huang did not want to talk about it, so he did not press him further. After all, he had brought his brothers here to do some small business and earn some easy money. About 10 minutes later, there was a knock on the door of the room they rented. Brother Blackface frowned and looked at the time on his phone. That's weird, it's already 10:30 p.m. Who is it? Mad Dog Huang, on the other hand, was much more nervous than Brother Blackface. He stood up abruptly, a bad feeling rising in his heart, but he also felt that it was impossible. The distance between the two buildings was 300 meters. The binoculars on his side were also hidden under the curtains, revealing only a small black cannon barrel. There was no video on the internet, and the two of them only glanced at the window when they came back. It was impossible for them to be discovered so quickly. Little did he know that as a disciple of the Thousand Extremities sect, Xan Qin's specialty was hidden weapons and darts. Her eyesight was what she practiced. To others, this distance might seem like a fairy tale, but to Xan Qin, it was nothing out of the ordinary. Brother Blackface did not know that danger was approaching. Seeing that Mad Dog Huang did not move, he signaled one of his men to go and see who it was. Who is it? The underling was half naked and didn't rush to open the door. Instead, he stood at the door and asked, "Open the door, it's a delivery man." Qingguang answered in a muffled voice outside the door. Are you crazy? Delivering your mother's delivery in the middle of the night. The man was a hot-tempered man. He did not think too much about it, thinking that it was someone causing trouble. He raised his hand and opened the door, ready to beat the person up. Before he could finish, Qingguang grabbed him by the neck and threw him into the room. He flew 3 to 4 meters and landed on the edge of the sofa, causing Brother Blackface to stumble. Brother Blackface did not know what was going on. He slammed the coffee table and stood up. Who's looking for death? In the next second, his expression changed. He recognized Qingguang. Although Qingguang rarely interacted with the gangsters in Wenxing Town, Qingguang was a legend in Wenxing Town. Not to mention his relationship with the violent policewoman, the terrifying beauty who was always with him was the one that the gangsters in Wenxing Town feared the most. Whoever dared to provoke her would be beaten up. Wenwen's domineering reputation had long spread throughout the town through the sweeping in front of the internet cafe. In this town, it was acceptable to offend anyone, even the police. However, no matter who it was, they could not afford to offend that beautiful girl. Otherwise, no one would be able to save them. Along with that, Qingguang was also included in the list of people who could not be provoked. Recently, Qingguang was quite famous in Wenxing Town. How could Brother Blackface not know him? Oh my God. Brother Huang, you told me earlier that you were going to keep an eye on him. Am I not a ghost? Brother Blackface took a few steps back. His heart felt as if it had been stabbed by a knife. Mad Dog Huang was angry. You look like a bear and you still have a place in the underworld? My underworld, my ass. King admitted it the moment we met. At least let me think about how to fool you in my mind. Now that you admitted it directly, what should I do? Xan Qin did not rush to follow, but blocked the door as if she wanted to play the role of blocking the door. Qingguang walked inside. Yo, friends from Octave magazine are quite dedicated. You don't sleep in the middle of the night, but come here to take pictures of me. Are you happy? Mad Dog Huang's eyes turned around. He took out his weapon from his back and touched the dagger behind him. He was also angry. He heard that Qingguang broke Gang Zi's forearm with his bare hands. If Qingguang wanted to kill him, he might die here if he didn't think of a way to save his life. I'm called Mad Dog Huang in the underworld. Don't force me. Mr. Qin, this is a misunderstanding. I'm not from Octave magazine. I'm just an astronomy enthusiast. Mad Dog Huang lied with his eyes wide open while desperately gesturing to the staff of Octave magazine behind him. The people behind him understood and planned to delete the video. Misunderstanding? Come on, take out the dagger behind you and show me. I want to see how deep your misunderstanding is. As Qingguang said this, he leaned down slightly. His left hand seemed to grasp one of the legs of the tempered glass coffee table, and then he lifted the coffee table with one hand. This coffee table weighed at least 70 or 80 pounds. His action really made Brother Blackface and Mad Dog Huang's eyelids twitch. Brother Blackface wanted to cry. Didn't they say that the girl next to him was very good at fighting? How come he didn't seem to be much worse? I'll King kill you. From the beginning to the end, Qin Guang didn't show the slightest bit of kindness. Mad Dog Huang finally lost control. His mind went crazy and he pulled out his dagger. Brother Blackface, why the CK are you still standing there? He has already seen us. Do you think he wants to keep the peace? You're brave, but it's useless. Qin Guang raised his hand and swung the huge glass coffee table half a circle in the air, then smashed it down on Mad Dog Huang's head. From the moment Qin Guang entered the room to the dozen or so people in the room all lying on the ground, it took less than 2 minutes. Mad Dog Huang, who annoyed celebrities but was helpless, was lying on the ground. His head was bleeding and he was basically a dead dog. Fortunately, Qin Guang had a sense of propriety. Otherwise he would have died countless times with the coffee table. Looking at the scene of him patting Xan Chin's but in the living room, Qin Guang's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. The other party didn't have time to delete it. He grabbed Mad Dog Huang and placed his head in front of the computer. Tell me, did you send it out? Mad Dog Yellow was so frightened by his cold look that its legs trembled. No. Really? You have to think carefully. If I see the video outside, it's useless for me to let you go today. You'll really die later. It's not hard to find a fugitive to take your life for 10 million. You're not young anymore. You should have a family. Although it's good to earn money, you need to be alive to spend it, right? As Qin Guang spoke, he took out all the electronic devices on them and crushed them in his hands. Mad Dog Huang shook his head like a rattled drum. I really didn't. I swear. Well, consider yourself lucky. After pounding him on the ground, Qin Guang called Wang Long at the Wenxing Town branch. Now that Wu Tong had been transferred, Qin Guang only knew Wang Long at the Wenxing Town branch. Coincidentally, it was Wang Long, the newly promoted captain, who was on night shift today. Within 10 minutes, Wang Long rushed over with a group of people, huffing and puffing. My goodness, are you helping people to tear down their house? Wang Long was shocked by the messy scene in the living room when he entered. He saw Brother Blackface and his men curled up in the corner with only their underwear left. Yo, Brother Blackface, why are you here too? What a coincidence. Brother Blackface looked like he was about to cry. Captain Wang, it's a bit of a coincidence. Brother Wang, this group of people gathered here to take pictures of me. When I came to reason with them, they even threatened me. They almost beat me to death. You have to redress my grievances. Qin Guang pulled Wang Long to redress his grievances. A group of people stared at him with wide eyes. Even Wang Long could not stand his shamelessness. CK, it was clearly these people on the ground who were beaten to the point of being unable to take care of themselves. You are so thick-skinned. Your ability to lie with your eyes open is something I can never learn even in 8 lifetimes. Mad Dog Huang and Brother Blackface wanted to cry but had no tears. Brother, where did you learn this ability to make false accusations? Does your master still accept disciples? I feel like I can use it for the rest of my life if I learn some bits and pieces. Yes, detention all of you. Brother Blackface has received a lot of complaints recently. It's time to deal with him. Kid, just blame it on your bad luck. Didn't Scarface and Glasses Wu fall into the hands of Qin Guang? You guys are not the first batch. I really hope you guys are the last. After a while, this group of people was taken away by Wang Long. Wang Long said that he would detain them. Secretly taking pictures of private matters was against the law. Wang Long patted his chest and promised. Anyway, it was within the terms of the contract. He would definitely not give them a light sentence. What? Xiao Huang has been arrested? Administrative detention for a month? Does it have to be so serious? Xiao Huang is quite reliable. It hasn't even been 2 hours. What the hell happened? In the headquarters of 8 Weekly, Zhuo Wei, who was waiting for Mad Dog Huang's good news, did not get it. Instead, he got bad news. Chapter 616. Boss, I don't know either. I heard from Brother Huang and the lawyer that he was filming in his room when Qin Guang came knocking on his door out of nowhere. He was almost beaten to death. Damn it. What the hell? Zhuo Wei slammed the phone. He was furious. He had finally heard from the higher-ups in Beijing that they had no intention of getting involved in this matter. He had sent out his top men immediately, but they had failed miserably. Boss, are we still going to continue? His confidant came up to him and asked cautiously. Zhuo Wei glared at him. Nonsense. We have already suffered such a huge loss. Xiao Huang is also involved. How can we stop? Won't I suffer a double loss? How am I going to survive in the entertainment industry in the future? What will others think of me? Will I still be working for the weekly magazine? *CK. Continue to write for me. Continue to gather information for me. I will look for Boss Lu to bail him out. I don't believe that Qin Guang can be more powerful than me. He has only been in the 5 capitals for a few years. On the other hand, Qin Guang was also puzzled about something. A few days ago, when he organized the King's Challenge, Jin Shiyue had told him that the elders wanted him to do something big. That was how Tang Xiaokai came to invest in Qingguang Brokerage. Now that the company was on the rise, Zhuo Wei's reputation had been tarnished beyond recognition. Although the incident happened at 9 p.m., and the elders were probably asleep by now, it had already been more than 2 hours. With the importance the elders placed on this matter, they should have heard about it by now, right? It couldn't be that all the elders had gone to bed, right? Especially old Master Jin. Why hadn't he done anything yet? Since Jin Shiyue had asked him on the phone, old Master Jin should know everything. He looked at the clock on the wall. It was already past 11 p.m. He told Jin Shiyue to go to bed by herself and return to his room. He didn't want to disturb Jin Shiyue's sleep and called her. Jin Shiyue, what do your grandfathers think about this matter? Do they already know? Qin Guang asked with some pain in his heart. He was quite unhappy. After all, he was the director of the Guangdong General Administration, and now he had to jump out from the shadows to run such a big company and stand in the eye of the storm. Now that he was being slandered so badly, you should at least say something so that I can decide what to do next, right? Either you give me more support from the public and give me more power so that I can enjoy the feeling of being a pair of invisible hands behind the scenes controlling everything in the online world, or you can arrange for someone important enough to greet the reckless Zhuo Wei and tell him to kneel or scram when he needs to kneel or scram when he needs to. You guys are so comfortable, leaving everything to me and not caring about your own matters. You guys shouldn't be like this, old men. Jin Shiyue didn't seem to be asleep yet. I'm in Grandpa's study. I just pleaded with him. So forget it. You can talk to him yourself. Hey, don't. Before Qin Guang could finish his words, old Master Jin's voice came from the other side. What do you mean don't? Do you not want to talk to me? Qin Guang rolled his eyes. Isn't this nonsense? I just want to slowly fade away from this matter with Jin Shiyue. Who wants to chat with you? I'm really afraid that you will like me more and more. Old man is really glad that you know your limits. But I'm embarrassed to tell you that I've actually lived more than 100 years longer than you. It's also very difficult for me to hear you keep calling me brat. It's also because I'm young. If it were someone else, they would have scolded you for being impolite. How can I? I'm just afraid of disturbing your sleep. Therefore, it's natural to say things that don't mean what you mean. Although in his heart, Qin Guang was almost ridiculing old Master Jin as a little brat, he immediately spouted nonsense. No. I'm not disturbing you at all. I'm very happy now. You've done a good job, young man. A few of us were praising you on the conference call just now. You can praise me too? How random is your selection criteria? I've almost been slandered as an African, okay? But this is the effect we want. You're amazing. It's fine when you don't do anything, but when you do, it's a big commotion. You've just opened your company, and you've already caused such a big commotion. It's quite good. You call this good? Of course. If it's a white cat or a black cat, it's a good cat if it's eye-catching. In a few days, the military exercise will start. You've attracted everyone's attention now. The effect is very good. But what about my reputation? It's not a problem. It'll be fine after a while. Besides, we don't expect you to make money. You can do whatever you want. I'm just afraid of affecting Shiyue. It's not a problem. Those who achieve great things don't bother about trifles. We know what kind of person you are. Let the people outside make a fuss. If it really doesn't work, you can wait for the people on the internet to forget about it or wait for us to deal with it. We'll help you deal with those clowns and then it won't be difficult to clear your name. There's no hurry now. Alright, that's all. I'm a little sleepy. You should rest early too. Qin Guang hung up the phone bitterly. He understood in his heart that this group of old men was indeed unreliable. They clearly had no intention of interfering. To be honest, I've been so calm before. Isn't it because I'm counting on you guys to back me up? Now you're quitting faster than me. This is too much, okay? Do you really expect me to pay Tang Xiaokai's money until I don't even have my underwear left? The next morning, while Qin Guang was still lazing around in bed, Zhuo Wei came up with a new piece of news. This time it set off a storm on the internet. It was even more powerful than the countless articles last night, because this time, Zhuo Wei had found something. The most powerful scumbag in history, Qin Guang. On the surface he's a lover with Jin Shiyue, but he's secretly keeping a mistress. He's entangled with the prettiest girl in the class, and he overthrew a corrupt official for the sake of his mistress. Are you still in love with the omnipotent superhuman Qin Guang? The introduction of this piece of scandalous information was already explosive enough. The content was even more reasonable and convincing. This time, Zhuo Wei used all his connections and conducted a thorough investigation. He perfectly mixed his conjectures and facts together and wrote a long article that was written in the style of a super close friend. Many people in Gokyo University's Jinhuan College and the whole school knew about what Qin Guang had done in school. Back then he sent Pan Jiang to the hospital because of Sun Xiaoxuan, which further caused Pan Jiang to drop out of school. Later he overthrew Wang Ren and Su Lijing because of Zhuo Jingxi. These things were originally spread around the school, but with Zhuo Wei's personal embellishment, it became that he first flirted with Sun Xiaoxuan, then won over the beautiful counselor Zhuo Jingxi, and then he had the national idol, Jin Shiyue. Among them, Qin Guang pretended to be Zhuo Jingxi's boyfriend and directly used his status as her sugar daddy to slap Zhuo Long's face when they were buying a car. The story was written so vividly that it was as if he was there himself. There was even an interview video of the 4S store staff as evidence. Although in a sense what Zhuo Wei wrote was very close to the truth, once this kind of thing was said and exposed to the eyes of the public, the impact would be different. Actually, Qin Guang felt that he was being wronged. Although he was a little flirtatious sometimes, that was a man's nature. Everyone loved beauty. But he and Sun Xiaoxuan were innocent, and so were Jin Shiyue. But the public didn't think so. His and Jin Shiyue's so-called innocence was a secret that couldn't be said, and the blame was firmly placed on them. Looking at the comments below the news, there were a bunch of people saying, "The #1 scumbag in the world, Qin Guang, stay in formation." He was almost like a Spartan. "I'm not going to take this blame, okay? Surnamed Zhuo, can you let me have a good night's sleep? Also, I'm really in trouble. Why are you my teacher Zhuo's uncle? Zhuo Wei and Zhuo Jingxi's fathers are actually cousins." Thinking of Zhuo Jingxi's money-grubbing parents, Qin Guang really came to a realization. As expected, people who weren't from the same family didn't belong to the same family. Teacher Zhuo was born in such a strange family, yet he still had such a pure and untainted temperament. It was really the result of 8 lifetimes of good karma. But Qin Guang's head hurt even more. Before he finished reading this scandal, he really wanted to kill. After all, he was a person with a license to kill. But now, no matter how big a mistake Zhuo Wei had made, no matter how bad the relationship between Zhuo Jingxi and her parents and these unlucky relatives was, he definitely couldn't kill them. He rubbed his forehead. He was annoyed. But he was like this. The more you made me feel bad, the more you made me unhappy, the more you could forget about taking a penny out of my pocket. His stingy will would never be shaken by any external forces. Zhuo Wei's article had grasped the best timing and the best point of hatred. It just so happened that the incident where Qin Guang had angrily beaten up Pan Jiang because of Sun Xiaoxuan was true. The incident where he had contradicted Wang Ren in front of everyone at the school and eventually sent Wang Ren and Su Lijing to court was also true. The incident where he had caused a ruckus at the 4S store and bought a car and gave it away on the spot was also true. Other than giving the car away, Qin Guang's own house was right across from Zhuo Jingxi's rented house. A car worth hundreds of thousands was given away just like that. Now that they were living across from each other, no one would believe it if they said that Qin Guang and Zhuo Jingxi had nothing to do with each other. Perhaps when Zhuo Wei wrote this article, there were also victims like Zhou Long or Zhuo Jingxi's parents. They were relatives to begin with. As long as money was in front of them, what couldn't they say? The groundless accusations and the specious assumptions made Zhuo Wei's meticulously crafted long essay seem to be very real. The most deceptive lie in the world was a half-truth and half-falsehood. After reading this long article, even Qin Guang himself believed 80 to 90% of it. Forget about teacher Zhuo. That was a relationship that could never be washed clean even if he jumped into the Yellow River, and he had no intention of washing it clean either. Come to think of it, could it be that I actually like Sun Xiaoxuan? Qin Guang smacked his lips. As the saying goes, one must fly into a rage for a beauty. If I didn't like her, I wouldn't have been so angry when I beat up Pan Jiang, right? Is it just that I've been avoiding it, or perhaps I don't want to admit it? Sun Xiaoxuan's innocence and cuteness were so clear. Her sweet and delicate appearance was so lovely. How could Qin Guang not understand her feelings at all? But sometimes, understanding didn't mean that one could accept it with a clear conscience. She was such an innocent and cute girl. Who could bear to reject her? But Qin Guang knew what kind of person he was. Even if he couldn't bear to reject her, he couldn't bear to hurt Sun Xiaoshuan even more. Unknowingly, the matter with Sun Xiaoshuan had been delayed until now. Now that it was summer vacation, Sun Xiaoshuan was abroad, and Qin Guang was rambling all day long. He seemed to have almost forgotten about it. But when he wrote such a long article for Zhuo Wei today, it was hard to say how others would view it. On the contrary, it awakened the hidden feelings in Qin Guang's heart. Chapter 617. After the long article was written, it once again caused an uproar on the internet, especially when it completely separated Jin Shiyue's fans from Qin Guang's own fans. Who would want to see their idol being deceived by a scumbag? Under his own Weibo, Qin Guang once again witnessed the breadth and depth of Chinese. Other than those who kept in line, there were all kinds of nasty words. Even though he had been through a lot, he was still fuming with anger. He wanted to raise his hand and summon a nuclear bomb from the sky to destroy those who were scolding him the loudest. However, Qin Guang could not stay in front of the computer and read the comments. Instead, he prepared to drive to the city. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Qinguang Brokerage officially recruited all kinds of staff at their company's office. As the chairman and self-proclaimed CEO, Qin Guang had to personally attend the interview. Especially according to Xan Qin, the person planted by the higher-ups had already made his way out of the company in the morning and mixed into the long queue of interviewees. "Little Xan Qin, let's go?" Qin Guang asked before leaving. Xan Qin had been sitting in front of the computer and did not even lift her head. "You go. I have nothing to do today, so I won't be going." Then what are you going to do?" Qin Guang asked curiously. Xan Qin clenched her teeth and squeezed the mouse. "I don't care what this person says about you. Violent, fickle, I don't care. He's not wrong, but he can't say that you won the world championship because of shady dealings. If people really believe that, how am I going to run the National League? I'm counting on you to boost my popularity. Isn't he undermining me? You don't care, right? Then I'll help you. Don't stop me. Then you can't go out. I know I'm in this room. I'm looking for someone. I can't let him slander you so easily. Right? I don't know the person sent by the higher-ups. How am I going to tell?" Xan Qin waved her hand indifferently. "I heard from the higher-ups that you definitely know them." "Definitely?" Qin Guang was puzzled. "Why are you talking so much nonsense? You'll understand once you get there." After arriving at the place, Qin Guang walked through the densely packed crowd. Along the way, be it the various department heads of Qinguang Brokerage who were in charge of maintaining order or the interviewees who were queuing up, they all looked up and greeted him respectfully as Chief Chen and Mr. Chen. No matter how noisy the internet was, there were still quite a number of people coming for interviews. After all, they all knew that this startup company had a huge investment of 130 million yuan. Now was the time when people had more money than they could spend. The earlier they got into this company, the earlier they could stand their ground, and in the future they might even become a founding father. What if the other party got angry because of the black material? The icing on the cake is as light as a feather, but providing timely help is heavier than Mount Tai, okay? Of course, although there were many interviewees, talented people were still a scarce resource. Most of the truly capable middle and upper management personnel were currently in a wait-and-see attitude towards Qinguang Brokerage. Fortunately, Tang Xiaokai had already anticipated this situation. Although only Yu Hong could be regarded as a core general in Tangjie Foundation, the rest of the company's senior management personnel were also well-behaved and completely sufficient. According to Qin Guang's business theory of learning and selling on the spot, top talents were full of creativity, such as the old man himself. High-end talents had subjective initiative, such as Yu Hong or Xan Qin. Ordinary talents could perform their own duties and complete their own business, such as the other department managers of Qinguang Brokerage. Ordinary employees could play the role of gears in the company under the premise of supervision and management. Those who wanted to sabotage had to be coaxed into thinking that they were talented and not doing anything bad, such as Tang Ying. As for Qin Guang's previous worries about how he would recognize the people sent by the higher-ups, this was not a problem at all. The elders were really generous. They actually sent over the believers that he had trained in Shun's special training camp. Roughly counting, only a few people were missing. There were a total of 35 Dart believers. Excluding the hidden military temperament of these people, Qin Guang more or less had some impression of their appearance. If he really couldn't be sure, he just picked up the cup and looked at the faith value threads that appeared on these people's heads. The faith value threads of the believer level were greenish-gray with a hint of halo, which was completely different from the ordinary white faith value threads. Halfway through the recruitment there was a small interlude. Tang Ying seemed to have just finished an operation and decided to come over to ask about it. Then she was shocked by the mighty security department under the administrative department that Qin Guang had created. It turned out that after such a short period of time, all the departments were recruiting people at the same time. Qin Guang went around everywhere. First, he asked Yu Hong, who had his head bandaged and was injured, to create a security department on the spot. Then he went around to pick people up. When he met students from Shund, he didn't say anything. No matter what kind of person they were facing, he would first send them to the security department. Although Yu Hong was quite drunk, he also knew how to cooperate with others. Based on the principle of as long as you're happy, he absolutely did not object to Qin Guang's decision. He understood Tang Xiaokai's secret message very well and fully cooperated with Qin Guang to fool around. This is crazy. Recruiting so many security guards. Yu Hong didn't say anything, but Tang Ying didn't care so much. She pulled Qin Guang to the side and asked, "Why does the company need so many security guards?" Qin Guang rolled his eyes. "Alright then, the security department will be like this for the time being. As for these special forces elites, it might be better if they came from the police force, but to let those who came from the army sit in other positions so quickly was really a little difficult for them. But it didn't matter. Fortunately, there were special talents like Li Big Mouth who came from the kitchen." A few minutes later, Tang Ying was speechless again. The other departments hadn't even recruited any good chefs yet, and now you're giving me a canteen department under the operations department? In just a few minutes you've managed to recruit 6 chefs. Fine, these people do look like chefs, but that's not what we should be focusing on right now. How much do you want to eat? No. The chef. Qin Guang immediately flew into a rage. "My dear sister Tang Ying, as the saying goes, to make a horse run fast, you must first let the horse eat its fill. Humans are made of iron and rice is made of steel. If you don't eat, you'll starve. As the saying goes, before the troops move, rations and fodder go first. My strategy of making the kitchen first is definitely the best. Look at this Li Big Mouth. Look at his stomach, look at the grease on his face. One look and you can tell he's an experienced cook. What a rare talent." Tang Ying was caught off guard by Qin Guang's basket of honeyed theories. She secretly cursed herself for leaving the country too early and not being familiar with the local proverbs. She couldn't refute him. "Fine, you're right. Of course. When did I miss it? Very good." 6 more people had been inserted. There were only about 10 people left. Qin Guang secretly shrugged his shoulders. "Sister Tang Ying is really weak. You want to stop me from squandering in this state? Please go back and practice the 3 skills of a miser before coming out to fight with me. You're so weak now." Chu Hanji was quite proud of himself. Early in the morning, when the other brothers gathered to discuss the details of the interview, he quietly put his registration order at the back of the queue. At that time, everyone was in high spirits. One said he wanted to enter the marketing department, another said he wanted to be in charge of administration, and there was even someone who said he was a talent and could be promoted to manager anytime. Chu Hanji only wanted to say, "Brothers, you should take a piss and look at yourself. I asked you to type with 1 finger, and you still want to be in charge of administration? We are all people who talk with our fists. Chief Instructor Chen's company is also doing business. Although we are definitely going to enter the company, we should at least find some positions that we can do." But no matter what, Chu Hanji's cold water couldn't extinguish the enthusiasm of the brothers. Everyone even secretly compared to see who would enter the best department and be the most useful. As Secretary Chu's nephew, although Chu Hanji was also a soldier, he was much more familiar with such things. He knew that with the capabilities of this group of brothers, regardless of whether they applied for the administrative department or the marketing department, they would ultimately not be able to escape the fate of protecting the security department. There were only a few brothers from the police system, and now they had barely managed to sneak into the marketing department and the administrative department. There was also a talented police colleague who actually taught himself accounting and had AF*King certificate. Currently, he was looking down on everyone in the finance department. His poor and arrogant look was infuriating. Chu Hanji and a group of brothers who were still waiting for the interview secretly rolled their eyes. "Believe it or not, we will fight for the position of deputy manager for you to see?" Chu Hanji really felt that he had a chance. First of all, the security department was obviously full, and he would not be a security guard. Secondly, he didn't have the ability to be a chef, and he couldn't go to the cafeteria like Li Dazue. Thirdly, he deliberately fell behind. Wasn't that waiting for those honest men in front of him to fill up these unreliable positions? Moreover, Uncle said that he mentioned me in front of Chief Instructor Chin. Later, when I say my name, Chief Instructor will definitely remember me. I am Secretary Chu's nephew. Although it is shameful to be a backdoor entrant, Chief Instructor should at least give me the position of Deputy Manager for the sake of my uncle. Therefore, with such a thought, Chu Hanji sat in front of the interviewer. He applied for the marketing department. He felt that in terms of being a marketing specialist, he really had some unique advantages that other brothers couldn't compare with. Chu Hanji? This name is quite good. Young man, you are quite refreshing. Where did you work before? The person in charge of interviewing him was the marketing manager of Qingguang Agency, a middle-aged man who looked quite amiable. On the other side, Qingguang had already smelled the scent and came to this side of the table. He stood beside the interviewer's table and picked up his interview materials under Chu Hanji's expectant gaze. Hello, Chief Chin. Hello, Manager. I used to do some international relations overseas. I know English. That's right, this was Chu Hanji's trump card. On the other side, Qingguang looked down at his name and his eyes really lit up. Chu Hanji was secretly delighted. I heard that Chief Instructor's English is quite good, and he must be like me. This time, I will definitely be the deputy manager. Suddenly, Qingguang slapped his forehead. Oh yes, the operations department still needs a cleaning department. The entire floor is ours. This cleaning task is very heavy. The marketing manager and the operations manager sitting at a table not far away were stunned at first, and then they agreed in unison. Chief Chin is right. We don't need to outsource the cleaning work. We need to set up a special cleaning department. Qingguang nodded. The two brothers were really cooperative. Then it's settled. Chu Hanji, you can come to the cleaning department. I have high hopes for you. Damn, Chief Instructor, this is different from the script that I thought of. Chapter 618. Chu Hanji's face turned green. I know English. Don't do this to me. I don't want to sweep the floor. His mind started to picture himself wearing a cleaner's uniform, holding a broom and swaying in the corridor. He shivered. So scary. Chief Instructor, to be honest, I am serious. I, Chu Hanji, am not only a noble prince in Shun's special training camp, but I am also a little famous internationally. Don't change the gun in my hand to a broom. Don't change my special combat uniform to a cleaner's uniform. How am I going to face people in the future? Blinking his eyes, Chu Hanji looked at Qingguang. Chief Instructor, can you see how panicked I'm looking at you? Qingguang and Chu Hanji looked at each other for 3 seconds. Wow, not bad, young man. Why are you so happy? I like your big bright eyes. One look and I know you are a good young man who understands me. No wonder you are my believer. Then Qingguang gave Chu Hanji a thumbs up and patted his shoulder. Young man, don't let me down. Do your best. Do your best. Wait, Chief Instructor. My eyes are so bright since I was born. This is not because I am happy. Don't give me a thumbs up to thank me. I am so nervous. Also, I don't know how to do a cleaner's job. Do your best and thank you. Chief Chin. I know. You won't let me down. Go to the side. There are many people waiting behind. If you do a good job, I will promote you to be the chief of the cleaning department. Chu Hanji didn't even have a chance to object. He ran to the side and squatted down. He was probably starting to doubt his life. Those brothers who had already entered the security department and other departments laughed secretly when they saw Chu Hanji's confused look. You deserve to be smart. Being a security guard in the security department is better than being the chief of the cleaning department, right? At least the security guards' uniforms looked decent, and they could barely maintain the military temperament. For some reason, when they thought of Chu Hanji wearing that super clean uniform, the security guards were inexplicably satisfied. The 10 or so Shun students who were still in the back weren't much better off than Chu Hanji. They were all shivering with ashen faces. Everyone had a faint premonition that the remaining people would most likely follow in Chu Hanji's footsteps. Sure enough, as they watched their brothers being pushed over one after another, many of the cleaners who had strong bodies squatted in a corner and silently wiped their tears. We are probably the strongest cleaning team in the world, right? If the company encounters a troublemaker, we can probably get the title of sweeping monk if we make a move before the security guards do. Thinking about it this way, life seemed to be filled with hope again. After Qingguang shoved the remaining 10 or so people into the cleaning department, Tang Ying jumped out again. She pulled Qin Guang aside and muttered, Okay, a dozen people is enough. You see, these are all strong young people. Aren't the cleaning done by aunties? Why do you let all the young people do the cleaning? The cleaning salary is the lowest, how can they work in peace? Aren't you torturing them? Finally, Qin Guang, who had pulled everyone into the company, felt relieved. He waved his hand and said, Young lads, do you have the confidence to do a good job in the company's cleaning? Chu Hanji and the other fresh and hot cleaners said weakly, Yes. Each person will be paid 2,000 a month. Do you have any objections? The chief instructor didn't seem very satisfied, and the cleaners' voices were slightly louder. Oh. Qin Guang finally blinked and asked, Do you have the confidence to follow me and do something big? The hidden meaning in his words reminded everyone, including Chu Hanji, that Qingguang brokerage was just a cover. Think about your real job, your real position, and think about what we do. You are now writing cleaning, read it as the first batch of special agents of the Guangdong General Administration. Our real enemy is not the garbage on the ground, but the Special Affairs Bureau, and all the internal force martial artists who use their personal strength to override the country's power and the people's heads. Young lads, don't feel inferior just because you are a cleaner now. Don't forget your original intention and you will succeed. Everyone's eyes gradually focused, and their eyes were filled with fighting spirit. They shouted in unison, Yes. The janitor's passionate roar could even be heard clearly in the interview hall far away. Qin Guang turned back and winked at Tang Ying, then patted her on the shoulder. Sister Tang Ying, you really don't understand. How can you look down on cleaners? A clean and tidy working environment can make the company full of creativity. How important a position is this? Also, don't underestimate my personal charm. Tang Ying looked at the back of Qin Guang, who was like a domineering CEO, and then looked at the super strong and capable cleaners who were looking at him with admiration. She was momentarily confused. Why do I feel like these people have the illusion of saving the world by being a janitor? Is there a deviation in my outlook on life? Or is there poison on Qin Guang's face and he really has such a great personal charm? Tang Ying kept patting her head, doubting her life. During the interview in the afternoon, the entire Qingguang agency recruited a total of about 60 to 70 people. Other than the security department, cleaning department, and kitchen, the canteen department, which were personally supervised by Qingguang, the other departments were also very strict in selecting talents. They would rather have a shortage of people than to let go of people randomly, so the interview process was very strict. Qingguang was known for messing around, but the middle and senior executives sent by Tang Xiaokai did not dare to do so. However, the early stage of the company's personnel structure was basically completed in this afternoon, so a new problem arose. What about the business? Yes. Other than that, an even more serious problem was placed in front of everyone in the company. After a whole day of brewing, it seemed that Jin Shiryua's hardcore fans' anger towards the scumbag had reached its peak. Other than venting their anger on the internet, they also decided to take more direct action under the instigation of people with ulterior motives. Zhuo Wei quietly exposed the location of Qingguang agency, then simply let the people from 8 Weekly join in, and began to secretly stop the actual actions of Blackie and Jin Shiryua's diehard fans. By the time the recruitment was over, more than 100 people had gathered in front of Lida Building to demonstrate. At first, Lida Building's property management was still able to control the situation, but as time went by, Qingguang still did not show up, and the crowd saw the recruitment sign at the entrance of the property management and knew that Qingguang agency was holding a recruitment meeting. Under the secret instigation of the people from 8 Weekly, the crowd gradually went out of control. Charge! Smash that bastard Qingguang's company! In the crowd, an 8 Weekly employee shouted at the top of his lungs, and then he quietly shrank back into the crowd. Although he only roared once, he had already achieved his goal. Smash this stupid company of his. This liar. Scumbag, give me back my goddess. Boycott this liar who relies on special effects to make a name for himself. Boycott Qingguang. Qingguang, come down. You have to give us, the loyal fans who have loved Jin Shiryue for more than a decade, an explanation. Huh? Goddess Shiryue debuted more than a decade ago? Why do I remember that it's her 10th anniversary this year? Bah. Don't care about these details. In any case, Qingguang is a scumbag. That's true. Hey, you guys are so well prepared. You even have a banner? Of course, our goddess's support group never fights a battle unprepared. Brother, is your support group still looking for people? Do you think I have a future? Can you train me? Sure, you pay the membership fee of 5,000 first. So expensive? What do you know? This money doesn't belong to us, it's for the activities we often organize. For example, Goddess Shuriwei and Goddess Grace are holding a concert in Denghai. Our support group is going to go there from Wujing. Do you need to buy plane tickets? Do you need to stay? You think it's expensive? We're not earning your money. Are you a fan of Goddess Shuriwei or not? That's true. I'll transfer the money to you now. From now on we're on the same side, good brother. This guy from Gossip Weekly didn't forget to make money. He was quite professional. The excited crowd immediately gathered. No one knew who was the first to step forward, but they raised their legs and rushed through the glass door of the Lida building. All the security guards of the building were already waiting at the door, but faced with the attack of these completely aroused fans, they were still a little overwhelmed. The security captain shouted into the walkie-talkie, "Boss, what do we do now? These people are all crazy. There are so many of them we can't hold them off." "Hold them off even if you can't. If we just let them in, how can I explain it to young Master Tang? How are we going to rent Lida building?" The boss on the other side of the walkie-talkie was also a little overwhelmed. He regretted not telling Qin Guang the moment he realized something was wrong. He thought that after a long time, the crowd would realize that there was no effect and leave out of boredom. He didn't expect it to escalate. "What did the boss say?" the vice captain of the security team asked. The captain put the walkie-talkie into his trouser pocket. "Nothing much. Follow me, hold them off. Stop fooling around. You're breaking the law. I've already called the police." "Sister Tang Ying, the people we hired today are all pretty good." Walking with Tang Ying to the elevator, Qin Guang said cheerfully. He had successfully stuffed all his own people into the company. Today he felt exceptionally satisfied. As for the resentful gazes of Chu Hanji and the other young men when they received the cleaning uniforms, Qin Guang thought that they were moved to tears. Did Qin Guang really not know what they were thinking? Of course not, he could see through them. But he didn't want his first batch of employees to complain to the leaders of the major departments because of their low business ability after staying in the company for 2 days. At that time he wouldn't be able to fire them, but he also wouldn't be able to not fire them. The safest way was to arrange some easy jobs for them that didn't require much pay. Security, cleaning, canteen, these 3 treasures guaranteed that nothing would go wrong. Other than your 2 treasures and 1 candy, everything else is fine. Tang Ying rolled her eyes. "You've given them nicknames so quickly. Instantly integrating into the team, our company's cohesiveness is great." Tang Ying was almost defeated by Qin Guang. Chapter 619. Both of them entered the elevator and went downstairs. Just as they were about to leave, the CEO of Lida Entertainment, who had finally caught up to them, stopped them at the elevator entrance and dragged them into the stairwell. Don't go out now. I was wondering why I couldn't get through to the both of you on the phone. You're in the elevator now. I'll get someone to fix the elevator signal later." Qin Guang and Tang Ying were confused. Why was he not letting them out of the door? "Bro, are you going to throw us a welcome party? Can we make a reservation? I'm totally unprepared for your sudden attack." After listening to the CEO of Lida Entertainment's explanation, they realized that the commotion downstairs had been going on for almost half an hour. The other party couldn't take it anymore and hurriedly came to block the door to ask them for a solution. If they were to rush up to the door, they would probably have to tear down the office and start all over again. Damn it! Did they take the wrong medicine? Qin Guang gritted his teeth. "I'll just pretend I didn't see how they scolded me on the internet, but now they're trying to tear down my company? Isn't that too much?" Tang Ying was about to call the police when Qin Guang took out his phone. "Didn't we just hire the security department? Sis Tang Ying, I'll let you see if these people are useful or not. You knew you were a troublemaker, so you hired so many security guards this afternoon?" Tang Ying was speechless. "Also, you said that Zhuo Wei and his 8 weekly magazines would be fine with you slandering you, but it turns out that you're so confident that you can hire a few dozen security guards to beat up Xin Guanxi? You really have foresight." Qin Guang was stunned. "You're right, aren't you?" "You're right, my ass. Don't make things worse. Call the police first. I'll call them back. Don't worry, they know what to do and what not to do. They're professionals. They can't possibly let them in to destroy our company, right? Or do you want me to beat them up myself?" "Don't. You should call the security guards." Tang Ying was afraid of Qin Guang. However, it would probably take a while for the security team to return. During this period of time, the security guards of the Lida building were struggling more and more. It would also take a while for the police to arrive. It was extremely taxing. Tang Ying could only watch anxiously from the corner, but this time she held on to Qin Guang tightly, refusing to let him leave. Regardless of whether Qin Guang was really strong enough to take down the people outside, she couldn't let Qin Guang hit people. Otherwise things would only get worse. Zhuo Wei's defamation of Qin Guang, such as violence, barbarism and bullying, would all have to be proven true. Sister Tang Ying, don't stop me. There must be some bastards from 8 Weekly out there. I'll drag them out and we'll call it a day. Cut the crap. Do you really think you have the fiery eyes of truth? Even if you knew Zhuo Wei's men were outside, would you be able to recognize them? If you want to leave, you'll have to step over my dead body. Does Emma have to be like this? Are we acting in a movie? Over a dead body? That's exactly what I want. Are you listening or not? You win, I'm listening. At this time, the crowd outside started to make a ruckus again. It turned out that there were new changes on the internet. About 10 minutes ago, the accounts that first posted defamation of Qin Guang on Weibo were gradually banned. Their previous posts were also deleted. Even the screenshots and reposts were not spared. Other than that, a large number of fake reviewers were identified under Qin Guang's Weibo. Some of the haters who weren't fake reviewers but were extremely fierce with their words were also deleted and banned. This was obviously Xan Qin's doing. No one knew who she had found, but the Weibo company, which had been waiting to see what would happen, finally took action. They invested a large amount of manpower and resources in a short period of time and started to control the defamation of Qin Guang on Weibo. Some people even tried to add a topic and cross the line, but their posts were deleted and banned within minutes. Other than that, all the major portals and information apps also followed suit. In just a short period of time, the defamation that had flooded the front page disappeared in an instant. Xan Qin did what Qin Guang had always wanted to do but didn't. She became the invisible hand behind the internet, deleting and banning all the posts of those who didn't get along with him. It was a pity that her energy was limited. She wasn't good at writing, so she didn't have the time to write articles to clear his name. But before she took action, she had already talked to the Escort Association. The Escort Association's clarifying articles came out one after another. One of the typical articles was written by Liang Fatsai, the president of the Dachuan branch. Witness Qin Guang's competition process, step by step, break the monopoly, and become the best dart player in the country. Please don't maliciously smear the athlete who won glory for the country. It was signed by Liang Fatsai, the president of the Dachuan Province Darts Association. In this article, Liang Fatsai used his own perspective to describe how he discovered the peerless genius Qin Guang in Boss Jin's Dia Darts Club, how he invited him 3 times, how he witnessed him surpass all others in the Amateur Darts League, and how he finally stepped onto the stage of the World Championship. He used his indisputable strength to win the first gold medal in the World Championship of Darts for the Wuxia people under the provocation and doubt of foreign players, achieving a breakthrough and breaking the monopoly of European and American players in this event. You can't erase the contributions of athletes just because they keep a low profile and don't make a big deal out of it. There's no such thing as success without a reason in this world. It's true that Qin Guang has amazing talent, and he is a genius in darts that ordinary people can't reach, but without hard work, no matter how talented he is, he can't always win with 9 darts. He won glory for our country in the darts event, and let us Chinese darts players who have always been inferior to foreign players, regain our dignity for the first time. I won't allow you to smear our champion like this. Are the people of the country really that inferior that they can even doubt the most authoritative, formal, and influential world championship of darts? Just because the champion is a Chinese? What kind of internationalism is this? If other foreign players doubt our players and our champion, we might be able to understand it. We even let them re-examine all our equipment, and in order to prove his innocence, Qin Guang even bid again from a very far distance. We can understand all of this, but you dare to smear and slander him so unscrupulously. I, Liang Fatsai, will be the first to disagree. The biggest joke in the world is that you dare to say that we can influence the World Championship. You dare to say that the World Championship is rigged? Don't you know that the referees of the World Championship of Darts have always been controlled by the British? If there's really a rigging, it's only possible that we will lose the championship. Liang Fatsai's article came from the bottom of his heart, and every word he wrote was a gem. After that, the other players, those who were good at writing or those who had assistants around them who could write, also wrote in support. Those who didn't know how to write directly forwarded Liang Fatsai's article. It was hard to say if it was in other industries, but at least Qin Guang's results in darts could be won back with the support of everyone in the industry. But there weren't many people who paid attention to the darts industry outside Lida building. They only knew that the despicable, shameless, vulgar and hypocritical guy Qin Guang had finally started his PR. He wanted to use his money and his authority to take away people's right to speak on the internet. They were even more furious without needing to be incited. Is it really true that the rich have the final say in this world? Could it be that we, the peasants and losers, can't have a little bit of the right to speak our minds? Shouldn't a scumbag like Qin Guang be boycotted? He actually wants to use such a despicable and vicious control of the internet to block our right to speak. He wants to use his power to hide his filth and ugliness. How shameless, how hateful. These self-proclaimed righteous people, under the incitement of Zhuo Wei and his 8 weekly, thought that what they saw was the truth. They thought that what they saw was the truth. They were agitated, or rather, their hatred of the rich exploded. They had no idea that they were just puppets being used and manipulated by Zhuo Wei. In short, the crowd was in a complete uproar. The angry crowd began to attack the defense line built by Lita's security guards again and again. Justice drove them to lose their rationality, and the mentality that the law does not punish the masses made them even more unscrupulous. Lita's security team retreated step by step. Seeing that the defense line was about to be broken, Qin Guang, who was hiding at the elevator entrance, felt a headache coming on. At this moment, a loud shout came from behind the crowd. "You bunch of lunatics! All of you stop!" The crowd turned around, but they were dazzled by the large group of shiny bald heads in front of them under the sun. Damn, it was so dazzling. What was going on? Why were there so many bald heads? Qin Guang quietly poked his head out and saw the large group of bald heads behind the glass in Lita's lobby. When he heard the somewhat familiar shout, he was stunned. What? Anti-Light Alliance. Brother, don't cause trouble. You're the one who's against me. Did you open the door the wrong way today? It looks like you're here to take care of me? What kind of scene would it be to have 200 shiny bald heads standing neatly by the roadside? It could raise the brightness of the entire street to a whole new level. It could also make the beautiful women passing by dumbfounded and knock their heads against the electric poles. It could also make people feel intimidated by the aura formed by the combination of these terrifying bald heads. Qin Guang's heart was filled with questions. He would never have thought that at this moment when he was almost deserted by everyone, the person who stood up to support him was actually the bald president. He rubbed his head. Good brother, we're on the same side. After the loud shout, the bald-headed president, who was being stared at by many people, felt very conflicted. Who the hell wanted to help you? I also want to join this group of people, okay? But in our anti-Light Alliance, there are too many loyal fans of you, you traitor, okay? As the president, I've been kidnapped by morality. I really want to cry. I feel so wronged. Chapter 620. Boss, it's been hard on you. We know you're upset, but we really want to support brother all-rounder. You're our boss. Even if we have different ideologies, you'll always be our boss. We can't do without you, and we can't do without you. Boss, for your sacrifice, we'll make it up to you with barbecue tonight, okay? Everyone's looking at you. Say a few words. At this moment, the representative of Qin Guang's diehard fans in the Anti-Light Alliance, the vice president, came up to the president and whispered. The bald president took a deep breath and thought to himself, "My faith, I've betrayed you again. You'll forgive me, right?" Then he opened his mouth and shouted the slogan that he had prepared in his mind. Don't believe in rumors. Don't spread rumors. Don't be blind. Don't be impulsive. Follow stars rationally. Resist rationally. Every one of us has the ability to think independently. Don't be misled by 8 weekly and Zhuo Wei. This is a conspiracy. A long time ago, when Qin Guang first appeared in the Amateur Darts Championship, I was there to watch every single one of his matches. I saw with my own eyes how he was questioned, how he was asked to check his equipment, and how he climbed to the top step by step. I also watched his lousy Dota competition for 3 days, and now I'm already at 5,000 points. I swear on my honor that he's not lying. Although I'm also a staunch anti-fan of Qin Guang. Before he could finish his sentence, the vice president, who was a diehard fan of Qin Guang, raised his arms and shouted, "Don't believe in rumors." The brothers behind him followed suit and shouted, "Don't believe in rumors." The vice president shouted again, "Don't spread rumors. Don't spread rumors." The vice president continued shouting, "Judge rationally. Judge rationally." Finally, the vice president raised his hands high, "Think independently. Think independently." The 200 bald heads were exceptionally dazzling under the sun. Everyone shouted in unison, and their imposing manner completely overwhelmed the 100 or so demonstrators who blocked the door. The bald-headed president basked in the warm sunlight. His heart felt exceptionally miserable. He hated the unlucky vice president to the core. Can't you just let me finish my last sentence? I have to clarify my identity. I don't want people to think that I'm a fan of Chen Guang. I'm a hater of Chen Guang. Just as he was thinking about this, a reporter who had rushed over fearlessly shoved a microphone in front of him. May I ask if you are the famous president of the Anti-Large Alliance? When I first heard the name of your fan group, I thought you were boycotting Chen Guang, but we found out that all of you have shaved your heads like Chen Guang. So you are Chen Guang's diehard fans? The bald president was about to speak when the vice president jumped out again. He put his arm around the bald president's shoulder and said to the reporter with a smile, "That's right. Our Anti-Light Alliance is the earliest fan club of Brother Almighty. We are the most loyal fan club. Our slogan for joining the club is, no membership fee. I don't accept girls." He had to be bald. Freedom of thought. The bald president turned around and glared at the vice president angrily. Are you a F***king clown sent by a monkey? Since when did Chen Guang's nonsense become our motto? Thank you for the interview, but we have to go and maintain order now. Alright, thank you for accepting the interview, President. The reporter took the microphone and ran away in satisfaction. The bald president, what the F***ck? Don't you F***king leave? Also, I didn't even say a word. What do you mean by thanking me for accepting the interview? You're too casual, aren't you? But on the other side, his vice president had already surrounded the crowd with a group of bald young men. The 100 or so people who were originally in high spirits were suddenly unable to muster up the courage to resist when faced with the 200 or so bald men. Are you kidding me? People with shaved heads are already very valiant. Are you trying to defy the heavens with 200 bald men? If you have something to say, talk it out. Don't use your bald heads to blind our eyes. Damn, these people look so valiant. I don't think we can blow them away. What should we do? Try. You try first? Why don't you go first? Damn, what if we get caught and beaten up? You have a lot of meat, so you're more resistant to grass. F***ck, didn't you train in Shaolin? You know iron skin. The two boys from 8 Weekly muttered in the crowd for a long time, but none of them dared to stand out. Although the members of the Anti-Light Alliance weren't all burly men, the ones who rushed at the front were not small. Coupled with their big bald heads, they gave off a ferocious feeling. They easily separated the crowd and stood in front of the lead to security that had already collapsed, forming a new human wall. Before coming here, they had clearly discussed their strategy. They couldn't just casually make a move and bring shame to their idol brother all-rounder. They would first use their imposing manner to suppress the other party, then help brother all-rounder block the entrance, preventing these troublemakers from entering and causing trouble. Hello everyone, this is the direct report from Dechuan News. I am your on-site reporter, Chin Wei. As everyone can see, Chen Guang's hardcore fan group, the Anti-Light Alliance, is very courteous. They didn't have any conflict with the protesters and took the initiative to negotiate with the other party before assuming the responsibility of building security and maintaining order at the scene. Here, 5 Capital Entertainment Weekly reminds everyone that regardless of whether you are chasing after a star or boycotting, please maintain basic civic qualities. Don't break the law, don't cause trouble, respect the law, and be a good citizen with public morality. The Anti-Light Alliance obviously has the advantage in numbers, but they still maintain the greatest restraint and set a good example for everyone. At the back of the crowd, a rather young and beautiful female reporter was talking to the cameraman who was following them. The accusations and doubts about Chen Guang on the internet are still in the stage of speculation. Before the dust settles, please remain rational and don't be blindly incited by others. Or even if what they say is true, please don't do anything illegal. Just like the slogan of the Anti-Light Alliance says, we must have the ability to think independently. The female reporter, Chin Wei, made a gesture. The cameraman nodded and put away the camera. The live broadcast over there ended. Director, how was what I said just now? Chin Wei called the director to ask for credit. Not bad, but there is one sentence that I have an opinion on. What do you mean by even if what they say is true? This incident with Chen Guang is obviously caused by Zhuo Wei. It's all nonsense. Is that so? Chin Wei shrunk her neck and was scolded by the director. But it's okay, it's not a big deal and the effect is okay. Zhuo Wei dares to slander the person that our station wants to promote? Does he think our Dechuan satellite TV is doing nothing? Little ding. Have you sorted out the support from the darts players in the afternoon? Once you're done, send it out. Send it all out. Pick out all the most useful words. The director hung up the phone. His eyes were burning. Dechuan Satellite TV got a big bargain in the throne challenge and owed Qin Guang a favor. This incident happened within 2 days, and Dechuan Satellite TV finally couldn't sit still. Even if Qin Guang didn't ask them for help, they decided to take the initiative to support Qin Guang and maintain their friendship. The counterattack from Qin Guang's side had officially begun. Unlike Zhuo Wei, who had to spend money to hire people to support the water army, Qin Guang's counterattack was selling a favor, and it was someone else doing it on their own initiative. Qin Guang and Tang Ying were still waiting for the security team to come back. The cleaning team upstairs, who had been busy with the renovation and cleaning work on their first day of work, came down first. The leader of the team was Chu Hanji, the nephew of Secretary Chu of the central government. Among this group of people, Chu Hanji had a strong background. Chu Hanji had a cheerful personality and was good at making connections. His dart skills were relatively good. If he wanted to be the section chief, the others didn't have much of an opinion. Brother Chu, are we really not going to change our clothes? Are we going back in this cleaning uniform? Believe me, based on my understanding of the chief instructor, he and Mr. Tang must not have gone far. There's a high chance that they're hiding somewhere watching us employees who get off work for the first time. When he sees our dirty clothes, he must be secretly giving us a thumbs up. Chu Hanji said solemnly. I don't believe it. How can the chief instructor be so bored? Hey, you still don't believe it? I bet 50 cents that the chief instructor is hiding in this stairwell. Do you see the crack in the door? Why are there so many people at the door? Cut the crap. Did you see the crack in the door? Yes. The chief instructor is inside. Chu Hanji joked with a smile. Although it was quite sad to become a cleaning team, once he accepted the opportunity to become a sweeping monk, it seemed pretty good. He was also bored out of his mind, so he comforted himself quite happily. You can't be telling the truth, right? Is the chief instructor really that bored? The others were really shocked by Chu Hanji. It's true. Also, did you forget what we said during training? Call him Mr. Chin in the future. Call him that in private. Okay, is Mr. Chin really that bored? What do you know? This isn't bored. This is called professionalism, understand? Didn't Huang Shuren use to crow every day to trick Yang Bailao to get up and work? How can he make money if he's not professional? The labor of cleaning workers is not labor. They still have to be exploited. Chu Hanji lowered his voice and said very carefully. His eyes occasionally glanced at the crack in the door. Chu Hanji's sudden movements really scared the 10 or so cleaners. Everyone started to be suspicious and nervously tidied up their clothes. They were afraid that Chief Chin, who was peeping at them, would think that they were not professional. Seeing that he really scared them, Chu Hanji chuckled. Don't panic. I'll go greet Mr. Chen and show off to him. We'll clean it up super clean. As Chu Hanji spoke, he really leaned towards the stairwell. Not to mention there was a crack in the wooden door and they could see outside from the inside. Ah, you bunch of idiots. How could Mr. Chin be so bored? I was just bluffing and you really believed it? How can you be so naive? As he spoke, he pulled open the swing door of the stairwell. Without looking inside, he turned around and looked at the cleaning team members behind him. Dang 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 dang. Look, it's empty. Many of the cleaning team members widened their eyes and looked behind Chu Hanji, as if they had seen a ghost. Behind Chu Hanji, Qin Guang's face was dark as he glared at Chu Hanji's back. That's right, he and Tang Ying had been hiding in this position. Chapter 621. Chu Hanji did not know he was in trouble. He looked at the young man who was giving him a wink. What are you doing? What are you doing? Is there sand in your eyes? Brother Chu Xiao Chin is... The young man gathered his courage and decided to remind him. Chu Hanji did not believe him. Stop it. Are you trying to scare me? I'm just spouting nonsense. How can Xiao Chin be so bored? Hey, why are you all like this? All of you want to scare me after being tricked by me? Let's go. Don't waste time here. Brother Chu Xiao Chin is really here? I don't believe it. Chu Hanji grinned, but he still turned around and saw Qin Guang's black face. Oh my god. Xiao Chin, you are really here. I'm making you bored. Qin Guang hit Chu Hanji's head with a pineapple. I'm making you enter the sand. Oh my god. I'm making you waste time. It hurts. I'm making you Huang Shuren. Xiao Chin, I'm wrong. I'm making you Yang Bailao. I'm wrong. Chu Hanji's head was almost hit by Qin Guang. I'm just spouting nonsense. Who would have thought that you are really here? As Su Tao continued to retreat, Qin Guang followed him and subconsciously walked out of the lift. On the other side, some of the protesters who had been completely subdued by the Li De security and the anti-Guang alliance suddenly noticed Qin Guang. Scumbag Qin Guang is out. He's out. Beat him up. Beat him up. Don't be afraid. Charge. They won't dare to do anything to us. A few young men from 8 Weekly finally got their chance. They started to shout at the top of their lungs. The crowd that had just calmed down suddenly exploded again. But someone else was even fiercer and more powerful than them. Chu Hanji finally found a way to divert his attention from Qin Guang's divine flicking technique. Holy shit. They are here to cause trouble. President Qin, don't panic. Let's go take care of them. Before Qin Guang and Tang Ying could say anything, Chu Hanji rushed out. Rather than rushing out, it would be more accurate to call it fleeing in panic. When the other cleaning team members saw this, they also followed Chu Hanji. Tang Ying was a little nervous. What are you doing? What are you doing? She wanted to pull the newly recruited cleaning team members back. There were only a dozen of them here, and there were hundreds of troublemakers outside. Whether they could win or not, the situation would become worse. Qin Guang stopped Tang Ying. It's fine. Let them go. Tang Ying stomped her foot angrily. Hey, how can you do that? Qin Guang pressed down on her shoulder. Don't worry. Nothing will happen. Even though Chu Hanji and the others deliberately shouted as if they were crazy when they rushed out, Qin Guang didn't worry about them at all. They were just pretending. In fact, this group of people was calmer than anyone else. Those who were selected to participate in Shun's special training camp were all elites. To be able to stand out in Qin Guang's intensive training, besides having a more fanatical faith, their own military qualities and determination to become better and stronger played a leading role. Even in the whole country, they were the best soldiers. Their shock and surprise at this time was only because of their military qualities, which made them subconsciously think of themselves as the cleaners who shared the company's honor and disgrace when they were on a special mission. Take Chu Hanji for example. Although he was born with an eccentric personality, it also allowed him to perfectly deceive people when he was on a special agent mission abroad. Chu Hanji and the others might be wearing a funny cleaning uniform, but in fact, judging by the standards of ordinary people, they were real modern sweeping monks. What's all this fuss about? I heard that you guys are here to cause trouble for Qin Guang manager? It's fine that CEO Qin is such a good person, but you guys actually dare to come to our company to cause trouble? Is there any law in this world? Is there any justice? Chu Hanji shouted at the top of his lungs. He put his hands on his waist and swaggered out of the lobby of Lida building. If he wasn't wearing a cleaner's uniform but a suit and leather shoes, others might even think that he was a big leader. But now, anyway, the bald president and the protesting crowd at the entrance of Lida building looked at him awkwardly. Bro, can you change into a different outfit to show off? The feeling you give people now is very much like when we played World of Warcraft in the past, wearing a suit of scrap metal and blocking Ogre's door to plant a flag. Kid, who are you? It's none of your business here. Well, otherwise I'll beat you up too. Qin Guang is right there. Everyone charge. The people from 8 Weekly were secretly stirring up trouble again. The bald president of the Anti-Light Alliance was having a headache. If he was really a die-hard fan of Qin Guang, he would most likely be shouting at his brothers to fight to the death. But I'm not. Who can understand the torment in my heart? The vice president beside him gritted his teeth and said, Brothers, hold on. Remember, maintain control but don't let them pass. Hold on a little longer. I've already called the police. The bald president turned to look at his vice president. The two of them looked at each other. The president could read the vice president's emotions in his eyes. President, I know your pain, but we really can't retreat. Forget it. Since we're already here, we can't let our brothers down. At this moment, Chu Hanji patted his shoulder and said, Brothers, it's been hard on you. Leave the rest to us. On behalf of CEO Qin, I would like to express my gratitude for your help. The bald president cursed in his heart. Who the F***CK wants to help? Also, why does a cleaner like you give off the feeling that Lu Bu is going to fight the 3 armies alone? All of you just stand there obediently. Let me tell you. All of us are the cleaners of Qin Guang Agency. Chu Hanji abruptly took a step forward, blocking the path of the protesting crowd that was charging at the very front. What the F***CK are you F***King cleaners for? The more impulsive of the protesting crowd came forward and raised their fists. Chu Hanji grabbed the man's hand and twisted it slightly, using a variant of the twisting technique to make the man turn around in pain. Then he pushed him back into the crowd. So what if we're cleaners? Are you looking down on cleaners? Have you seen cleaners who can fight as well as us? We're here today to reason with you. I'll say it again. We don't care what you say online, but if you want to cause trouble at our company, you should first ask the cleaners of Qingguang Agency if they agree. Brothers, get your weapons. Of course, they didn't really bring their weapons. Chu Hanji was just casually shouting to increase their momentum. The 10 people from the cleaning department stood at the entrance of Li De building. Their momentum seemed to surpass that of an army. Chu Hanji still felt that it wasn't enough. He turned to his brother and said, "Lend me your phone for a while." "Brother Chu, what do you want to do? Don't ask so much. Let's go." The young man uneasily took out his phone. Special forces elites like him were usually forbidden from using personal phones. It wasn't easy for him to buy a new model after transferring out of the military. It had a metal body and a Qualcomm 820 CPU. It was great. Chu Hanji grabbed the phone and twisted it with both hands. This brand new and beautiful phone was twisted like a fried dough twist. He casually threw the phone on the ground and said in a domineering manner, "See that? Which one of you has a sturdier arm than this phone? Come and try it." "Brother Chu, you're crazy. Why don't you use your own? Mine is a fruit. It's a little expensive. We can't be brothers anymore." No matter what Chu Hanji and this unlucky brother who lost his beloved phone were arguing about, the protesting crowd and the Anti-Light Alliance were all dumbfounded. Although a phone wasn't as sturdy as they thought, to be able to twist it into a fried dough twist so easily, wasn't this person a little too scary? Looking at his cleaning uniform, everyone's mind was just as Chu Hanji expected. This man was King modern sweeping monk. And a bunch of sweeping monks at that. The impassioned crowd suddenly hit an iron plate, and the enthusiasm in their minds instantly cooled down as if it was doused with cold water. It was no joke. Everyone was panicking. At that moment, the protesting crowd felt like they were riding on a tiger's back. They were unwilling to leave just like that. They continued to rush forward, but they felt that their arms weren't as sturdy as the twisted phone on the ground. Chu Hanji stood in the middle of the crowd with his arms crossed. He was full of pride. Gold will shine no matter what position you are in. Even the cleaning uniform can't hide our shocking brilliance. Seems like everything's fine now? This is amazing. Tang Ying, who was hiding beside the elevator, couldn't see the situation in front, but the impulsive crowd gradually calmed down. Although she didn't know what had happened, it was still a good thing. Qin Guang chuckled. "How was it? The cleaning department we chose isn't bad, right?" Tang Ying was puzzled. "It's not easy to find a cleaner who can handle this situation. Why don't we give them a raise?" Qin Guang nodded. "MHM, 50 per person per month. Can you be more stingy? It's hard to start a business. Saving is the foundation. Why don't you go and say this to your big mahogany desk that costs hundreds of thousands?" While the two were chatting, the people from the security department finally came back. Although they were not in uniform, security guards naturally had the aura of security guards. Unlike the cleaning department, the security team brought out 1/3 of their military aura and stood uniformly at the door, bringing their own deterrent effect. The protesting crowd was completely dumbfounded. The bald president, who had almost lost his sense of existence, finally found a chance to show off. Looking at these like-minded brothers being propped up against the fire, he couldn't bear it. So he came to the front and said amiably, "Brothers, let's go. Really, it's not right for you to cause trouble like this. When the police come later, they will really arrest you. Next time, no matter what you want to do, you can just hold up banners and shout slogans. But don't think of rushing in and smashing and robbing. It's really against the law." The bald president gave them a way out, and the spies from 8 Weekly saw that things were not going well, and the protesting crowd started to disperse. Chapter 622. Just then Chu Hanji spoke again. That, you, and you. Please wait a moment." The 5 people he was pointing at were all 8 Weekly's employees who had been hiding in the crowd. They were indeed the elites of the special forces. He was also Secretary Chu's nephew and had done the job of protecting leaders many times. He was especially good at finding suspicious people hidden in the crowd. Although these 5 people from 8 Weekly had been hiding in the crowd and looked very careful, they would whisper to each other from time to time and discuss things furtively. When they were shouting slogans previously, it was also these 5 people who had secretly spoken and led the way. Chu Hanji and the others had already uncovered these 5 people. The crowd stopped again. Chu Hanji said again, "Friends, the others can leave. We really don't want to make things difficult for you, but these 5 people are up to no good. Everyone think carefully. Did these 5 people shout the loudest when shouting slogans, but when they really rushed forward they shrunk their necks back? You guys have been used as weapons by others, played for fools. You are from 8 Weekly? The crowd exploded again. The 5 people from 8 Weekly had been exposed and quickly distanced themselves from them. No. There's no such thing. We don't know Director Zhua at all. You're already calling him Director Zhua, but you don't know him? The security guard of Li De building also spoke up. It's the 5 of them. They've been hiding in the crowd and fanning the flames. Friends, we really don't know what's going on with Director Qin. Do you know that Zhuo Wei from 8 Weekly a few days ago? He's the paparazzi leader who caused the singer's death. He personally brought people to blackmail Director Qin. Director Qin didn't give them any benefits, so they spread the news on the internet. You've all been used. There's such a thing? Of course. Qin Guang had also walked to the door at this time. He waved at the crowd and said, "Everyone, I know you have a problem with me. I'm not very good with people sometimes, but I also have my principles. However, I have my own principles. I don't do things like fishing for fame. Everyone who follows me on Weibo knows this. You guys can watch all my videos from start to finish. If I was faking it, I would have been exposed a long time ago. Why would I wait for Zhuo Wei to slander me?" Swallowing his saliva, Qin Guang continued, "All of you have sharp eyes. Zhuo Wei asked me for 2 million yuan, but I refused. Don't you think it's embarrassing for him to do such a thing? Wasn't he detestable? It doesn't feel good to be used by others, does it? But how many boats do you have? We're fans of Jin Shiriyue." "Exactly. Even if everything else is true, you're still a scumbag." Qin Guang waved his hand again. "Please everyone use your brains. If I'm really a scumbag, how could Jin Shiriyue not know? Would she continue to stay silent? I just called her yesterday. In a few days, I have to go to Beijing to attend Director Deng's movie signing ceremony. At that time I'll meet Jin Shiriyue. You guys would rather believe a paparazzi leader who doesn't care about his reputation for money than the silent Jin Shiriyue? It seems like what he said makes sense. It does make sense. Seeing that his bluff worked, Qin Guang struck while the iron was hot. Of course it makes sense. You guys were indeed played by Zhuo Wei. In the time it took for them to chat, the security department and the security team found a lot of specialized camera equipment from the 5 employees of Octagon magazine. Looking at the micro cameras, hidden earphones and other equipment all over the floor, everyone really believed it this time. You still dare to say you're not from Octagon magazine? What are these? Qin Guang picked up a micro camera from the ground. Did everyone see this? F***CK. It's really from Octagon magazine. We were played by the paparazzi? F***CK. Beat them up. The happiest thing in life was to be the only sober when everyone else was drunk. That was how the protesters who came to cause trouble felt. But all of a sudden, their feeling of being the only sober one was exposed. Not only were they not awake, but they were also played by the paparazzi. How could they not be angry? No matter what, they couldn't come here for nothing. They had to beat someone up to vent their anger. The 5 people from Octagon magazine were in big trouble. Fortunately, they had rich experience in being beaten up. They also knew how to protect themselves when being beaten up by a group of people. They all obediently curled up their bodies to protect their vital parts. After waiting for about another 5 minutes, the police who received the call finally arrived and saved the 5 unlucky people. See, I told you it's fine. You're the only one who worries all day. You should just stay in your hospital and be a doctor. After praising the people from the cleaning department and the security department, and thanking the boss of Li Da, Qin Guang personally drove Tang Ying back to the hospital for her night shift. Before getting out of the car he said this. Fine. You're the best. Whatever you say. But just you wait, Zhuo Wei put another 5 people in prison. The more he loses, the more unsatisfied he will be. He'll come looking for trouble again. Tang Ying felt a headache coming on. At most, we'll just give him some money. Why do you have to fight with this kind of person? People who have nothing to lose are not afraid of those who have shoes. We've started a company now. Fighting with a mangy dog like him is very disadvantageous. You don't understand. This is a principle. Like hell I don't understand. Then tell me, what will you do if he continues to make things difficult for you tonight? In fact, Qin Guangjun was also having a headache. Zhuo Wei had really become a dogskin plaster. With him jumping around like this, Qin Guangjun was also annoyed. However, as the old saying went, in the end, Qin Guangjun was still a reasonable person. When he met a scoundrel who kept begging, and he was Teacher Zhuo's uncle, Qin Guangjun could not be ruthless. It was impossible to say that he wasn't annoyed. But he couldn't do anything to him for the time being. Other than that, in a sense, Zhuo Wei also had the support of the elders above him, which made him even more unscrupulous. Although he didn't know what Xanqin had done today, controlling public opinion was actually like drinking poison to quench his thirst. It might look refreshing for a while, but doing so could easily trigger the rebellious mentality of the netizens. Originally, the neutral party might have thought that it was okay, but since you were controlling public opinion, even if it was nothing, it would become a problem. Tang Ying didn't know that Qin Guang had so many worries in his heart. She only thought that he really didn't take Zhuo Wei's scandals seriously and thought that he was treating Qingguang brokerage as a joke. If the company really messed up, it would be her Tang family's money that would be lost. Of course, from a friend's point of view, Tang Ying really hoped that Qingguang could make a career out of it. Now that Tang Ying had become the vice president of Qingguang brokerage, it would be embarrassing for her to boast in front of her subordinates. No matter how she looked at it, Tang Ying had a reason to be anxious about this matter. Don't always have such an indifferent attitude, kid. You're making me anxious to death. Tell me, what are you planning to do? Qingguang spread out his hands. I don't know. I'll just deal with it when it comes. No. I don't care, you have to end this mess within 3 days. Otherwise, I'll look for Zhuo Wei myself and give him some money. Don't do that. Won't I feel bad? But it's even worse now. Let's make another bet. If you can do it within 3 days and change the topic on the internet, I'll use my mouth for you. Qingguang stared at her. What? He thought he had heard wrongly. Tang Ying was furious. Anyway, it's not the first time I've used my hands for you. I see that your face is flushed recently and you're burning up. There's nothing going on between you and Jin Shiyue. I know you have a lot of problems in that area. Your sister Ying has taken over from your sister Tong, so I'll give you some heat. I've already used my hands for you a few times, but you don't feel anything new. I'll use my mouth for you, alright? Qingguang's eyes widened as he stared at Tang Ying's fiery red lips. His mind started to wander. This is too scary. I can't resist this kind of temptation, okay? Also, if you can't do it, don't even think about taking advantage of me in the future. You have to accept this bet. Qingguang nodded. I'm going all out. Within 3 days. The two of them clapped their hands together to seal the vow. Tang Ying got out of the car and slowly calmed down from her anxious state. She was stunned for a moment before she slapped her forehead and muttered to herself, Am I stupid? Have I gone mad? Why would I make such a bet with him? She had been too anxious just now and her brain had short-circuited. That was why she had said such shameless words. Now that the wind blew, she felt a chill in her head and sobered up. She recalled the scene of that guy's D*ck in her mouth. Goosebumps rose all over her body. She regretted it so much that her intestines turned green. Tang Ying, how can you be so shameless? Tang Ying, have you gone crazy from being a 25 to 26-year-old virgin? She pounded her chest and stomped her feet in frustration. She couldn't go back on her words now. Tang Ying was a person of her word. As she walked up the stairs, she slapped her head in regret. Forget it. If Qingguang didn't want to fork out the money, 3 days wouldn't be enough to make Zhuo Wei and his 8 weekly magazines give in, right? If Zhuo Wei really wanted to give in so easily, he would have done so long ago after he had captured so many people. So, this unlucky bet, let it go with the wind. Qingguang wouldn't be able to do it anyway. Tang Ying comforted herself. On the other hand, Qingguang was riding on a high horse. He had been annoyed by Zhuo Wei's matter for the past few days and was on the verge of exploding. However, he didn't expect it to be the eunuch who was anxious. No, it was the concubine who was anxious. Sister Tang Ying was even more anxious than I was. She was actually so anxious that she came up with such an explosive bet. As soon as he imagined the scene, the haze in Qingguang's heart was swept away. The grievances he had suffered these past few days were all worth it. Next, the scumbag Zhuo Wei would have to wait and see how powerful the old man was. As Qingguang drove, he whistled in the direction of his house. Halfway there, his phone suddenly rang. When he took a look at it, it was an unknown number. Is this Zhuo Wei? Qingguang asked as soon as the call went through. Mr. Qin, you're quite understanding. How have you been? Have you been happy the past 2 days? Zhuo Wei asked in a strange tone. It's been all right. I'm indebted to you for taking care of me, fatty. I'll definitely repay you in the future. Qingguang's tone was even more strange. Mr. Qin, this is just the beginning. I've just written a long article praising you and sent it out. You have to read it later and give me some comments. I'll comment on your whole family. I'll give you 10 more seconds. I'm hanging up. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.